Crack. 2 hours later, a frost wolf stepped onto an animal trap in the snow, lured by the torch's light. Unlike before, when the snow mane's bones were merely caught, this time the frost wolf's left forelimb was nearly severed. And because the frost wolf sensed danger and tried to flee, its speed was so fast that a large chunk of flesh was torn from its entire left leg, leaving the bones almost completely exposed. The scene was quite horrifying. Despite the frost wolf's agility and reaction speed being even faster than the previous snow mane, opting for an early escape, the animal trap's strong pull and restraint, coupled with Xia Hong's meticulous prearrangement, led to its demise on the spot, with Xia Chuan extracting its essence blood. As Luo Yuan and the others looked at the frost wolf's corpse, weighing over 1,000 pounds on the ground, and then up at the sky, they realized only half the night had passed, yet they had already harvested 2 prey, and their expressions began to show numbness. When did hunting become so easy? It's not that they didn't exert any effort, but compared to previous hunts led by Luo Ming, the dangers encountered tonight were almost negligible. Both the previous snow mane and the current frost wolf were lured by the torch to step onto the animal trap, injuring their legs, reducing their full strength by 30 or 40%. After a wave of arrows, if not killed, they would be skinned alive. And finally, with Xia Hong leading the 5 of them, the prey was obtained effortlessly. Moreover, while hunting the second frost wolf, they used Xia Chuan's white thread to replace the rope. No matter how the frost wolf pulled, the thread held steady. In terms of time, hunting it was even easier than the snow mane. With this animal trap, if I personally lead the team, hunting low-level cold beasts in the future should be no problem. It's just a matter of time before we clear them from the perimeter. After 2 consecutive hunts, Xia Hong had already confirmed the effectiveness and power of the animal trap he personally crafted, greatly boosting his confidence for future hunts. Leader, can this animal trap be mass-produced? Luo Yuan's question immediately brightened everyone's expressions. However, Xia Hong shook his head, slowly removing the animal trap from the frost wolf's leg and said, "This animal trap was made from 10 forged iron that I personally crafted for both the main body and the spring. Just the iron ore alone weighed 1,200 pounds. It's not the same as the ordinary ironware previously made at Rojal Camp. Given the current camp's reserves of iron ore and mining capacity, mass production is impossible." Pausing for a moment, Xia Hong continued, "Even if we could craft 2 or 3 more now, we still wouldn't be able to use them." Upon hearing this, everyone pondered for a moment and then nodded. Recalling the 2 hunting processes just now, although the animal trap played a significant role, more crucial was their frontal blockage. More accurately, the fatal injuries of the 2 prey were almost entirely caused by Xia Hong. So, strictly speaking, while the animal trap could injure a cold beast, relying on it to reap rewards without preparation was impossible. Without prior arrangement and supplementary force from those at the earth-digging realm, the likely outcome would be a severely injured cold beast escaping with the trap. In such a case, they would end up with nothing. Therefore, if any of you breaks through to the earth-digging realm first, with the animal trap's help, the camp could definitely establish a second hunting team. At that point, hunting ability would be greatly enhanced, and the prey harvest would naturally reach a higher level. Upon hearing this, everyone's eyes immediately lit up. They had all witnessed the experiment tonight firsthand. 1 earth-digging realm, an animal trap, plus several at the logging realm, and not to mention encountering unfamiliar cold beasts. At least tonight proved that snow manes and frost wolves, as long as they are cautious, are almost easy to hunt. Given tonight's hunting progress, let alone Xia Hong's earlier proposed meat distribution rules being smoothly implemented, cold beast meat might even be in excess. Luo Yuan and the other 8 exchanged glances, then looked at Xia Hong. The doubt in their eyes had completely disappeared, leaving only admiration and respect. The seemingly fantastical meat distribution rule. It turns out he wasn't bragging. This new leader, Xia Hong, he could really make it happen. Next, let's see how many low-level cold beasts are left on the outskirts here. Is our camp's hunting speed fast, or is their spread fast? I want to see if these cold beasts really are endless. Unaware of the change in Luo Yuan and the others' perspectives, Xia Hong's gaze turned towards the deeper parts of Redwood Ridge, his expression turning somewhat excited. The 2 hunts tonight also proved that from now on, the Great Xia Camp truly stands at the top of the food chain above the snow mane and frost wolf. Hunting, as long as nothing unexpected happens, focusing on the currently familiar types of cold beasts should not be a problem in the future. He now even has to consider the question of whether there will be enough low-level cold beasts in the future. The trees of Redwood Ridge are robust, and the cold beasts are quite large, so not many can occupy the outer 500 meters here. For instance, when they just came over to search, they confirmed only 7 were present. But this doesn't mean there are only these 7 on the periphery, just that only 7 happen to be there tonight. Xia Hong, though not fully familiar with the life habits of cold beasts, understood from interacting with several types so far that at least they are not stationary. Logically, those mixed into the outskirts must be the weakest batch of cold beasts, but it's unclear how many weak ones are specifically within Redwood Ridge. According to the current meat distribution rule implemented by the Great Xia, at least 15 are needed per month. In the short term, this shouldn't be a problem, but continuing long-term like this will definitely reduce the number in the outer 500 meters, and then they will have no choice but to expand the hunting range. Leader 2 should be enough. Shall we end tonight here? Hearing Luo Yuan's inquiry, Xia Hong shook his head. We'll take down that golden-eyed demon sheep too. Upon hearing this, everyone swallowed, including Xia Chuan. 2 cold beasts in one night were already a fantasy for them, yet Xia Hong wanted to tackle a third one. It's not that they saw it as unrealistic. Having personally experienced the process of hunting the 2 cold beasts before, they didn't feel that the third golden-eyed demon sheep would be excessively difficult. The issue was hunting 3 cold beasts in one night. To them, it indeed seemed a bit mad and equally unbelievable. If the hunting process of the first 2 cold beasts required some effort, then the hunt for the golden-eyed demon sheep could certainly be described as simple. The attack mode of the golden-eyed demon sheep is extremely singular, just a reckless charge. Although its strength is much greater than that of the snow mane, its power was severely diminished after stepping into the animal trap, leaving it to flee under the siege of Xia Hong and his group. Aware of the threat posed by its glowing eyes on the back, Xia Hong and his team naturally avoided providing any opportunities. As luck would have it, the golden eye on its back turned out to be the perfect target for Su Ning, Qiu Peng, and the 7 archers perched in the trees. It's worth noting that, compared to Qiu Peng, Su Ning, and even Xia Chuan, the hunting skills of Luo Yuan and the other 8 were noticeably superior. This was apparent not only from the golden-eyed demon sheep, but also from the earlier snow mane and frost wolf hunts. Xia Chuan, using the black blade and white thread, could compete with the likes of Luo Yuan, but Qiu Peng and Su Ning's archery skills clearly weren't on the same level as Luo Yuan and his group. Both Qiu Peng and Su Ning noticed this point as well. Although their faces showed some frustration, there was an evident sense of competitiveness. During the return journey, they continuously sought opportunities to learn archery techniques and practiced whenever possible, which was quite apparent. Xia Hong welcomed this sort of friendly rivalry. As they prepared to bring back all 3 prey to the camp, the temperature visibly dropped, an indication that dawn was nearing, prompting everyone to quicken their pace back to the camp. Coincidentally, upon reaching the valley entrance, they encountered Huang Yang and Han Gang, who were leading the logging team in moving lumber inside. Leader, how was it? Did we catch any prey? Seeing Xia Hong at the forefront, Han Gang bowed in greeting, about to inquire about their hunting harvest, but before he could finish his question, he looked up to see the 3 massive creatures each carried by Su Ning, Qiu Peng, and Zhu Yunkai, and his mouth fell open in shock. Greetings, leader. This. Huang Yang also approached, initially puzzled about Han Gang's sudden pause. However, upon looking up and spotting the massive bodies draped over Su Ning, Qiu Peng, and Zhu Yunkai, his expression instantly mirrored Han Gang's in astonishment. Chapter 90. Seeking First Subscription. Chapter 90. Wooden Mannequin. This. 3 cold beasts hunted in one night. How is this possible? With Luo Ming as the leader before, wasn't it at most 2 in a night? Not 2, I remember one was stumbled upon. 3 cold beasts in one night. How is that possible? Over 3,000 pounds. What 3,000 pounds didn't you hear? Just said 4,280 pounds. The entire process from entering the valley, carrying into the wooden house, to weighing the 3 prey, the awe among everyone in the camp never stopped. Whether they were busy or already in the wooden house, everyone came over, surrounding the 3 prey in layers, faces full of shock, emotion, even disbelief. Among over 900 people in the camp, Those most startled belonged to the newcomers from Xia's and Huang Zhao's families. They had never even seen a complete cold beast corpse before, let alone 3 preys. Next were the 100 or so people from Rojal camp who, under Luo Ming's leadership, had seen hunting teams bring back prey, but hunting 3 at once was still mind-blowing. Comparatively, the over 300 from Great Xia had the smallest reactions, but their expressions showed that these 3 prey also gave them quite a mental impact. 4280 pounds. After the 3 prey were deboned and skinned, yielding the net weight of cold beast meat, everyone couldn't help but turn their heads toward Xia Hong, their minds simultaneously recalling Xia Hong's earlier mentioned system for distributing cold beast meat. So that was not a lie to us. He truly can do it. Xia Hong was perfectly aware of everyone's thoughts. The reason for hunting 3 prey tonight was to let everyone in the camp know that he could fulfill the cold beast meat distribution promises he made before. Firstly, to reassure them, and secondly, Xia Hong took 3 wooden bottles from Xia Chuan and then walked to the wooden mannequin, opening each bottle in turn and dripping the gathered cold beast essence blood into the hollowed-out area on its abdomen. As the essence blood dripped onto it, Xia Hong immediately sensed changes in the system's wooden mannequin. Wooden mannequin level 1. Training device activates with coal stone, significantly enhances training speed and increases martial understanding. Special function 1. Can record cold beast species through essence blood, transform into any cold beast, and manifest the strength of that cold beast's adult form. Currently recorded species: long-tongued snow mane, bone spur frost wolf, golden-eyed demon sheep. The 3 cold beast species have been recorded. Next, simply place in the coal stone. Xia Hong's eyes flickered as he placed 3 coal stones into the wooden mannequin's abdomen. Once the coal stones were placed, they spontaneously ignited, a warm glow spreading from the mannequin's abdomen to its limbs. Soon, the previously dead-looking wooden mannequin suddenly raised its head and opened its eyes, stretching its arms as if it had come to life. The wooden dummy came alive. Not a wooden dummy, that's the wooden mannequin the leader transformed. Yes, the leader transformed it before, I forgot. It really came to life. This astonishing scene immediately caused everyone else to exclaim in surprise, all immediately crowding around. Ignoring their amazement, Xia Hong concentrated, confirmed a type of cold beast, and chose the mannequin's training mode. As soon as he made his choice, the wooden mannequin changed instantly. The mannequin's abdomen suddenly brightened, then a burst of intense light blinded everyone's eyes for a moment. When the light faded, the wooden mannequin standing before them was long gone, replaced by a 4-meter-long snow mane, back covered in spikes, with 2 long fangs and a fierce face. Upon seeing the snow mane, everyone instinctively felt fear, but realizing it stood still and Xia Hong even approached to touch it, they immediately understood this was the mannequin's transformation, not a real cold beast. As fear disappeared, curiosity and astonishment followed. It transformed into a cold beast. It's just been transformed by the wooden mannequin. This can't be true, right? It shouldn't be as formidable as a cold beast, just looks identical. Xia Hong carefully observed the wooden mannequin's transformed appearance, then turned to look outside the wooden house, seeing that dawn was still a while away, and immediately walked out. The snow mane transformed by the mannequin followed him closely outside. Despite its calm demeanor and lack of any aggressive intent, once it moved, the suddenness still frightened those inside the wooden house who scattered to the sides. Let alone ordinary people, even those in the logging realm reacted similarly. This showed how deeply ingrained the fear of cold beasts was in the people of Redwood Ridge Camp. Xia Hong naturally took note of this. His brows furrowed but soon relaxed again. After all, the humans of Redwood Ridge Camp were still too weak. Even the weakest cold beast was higher in the food chain. Hence, this fear was deeply ingrained in them. Tonight's hunt had already proven that these people could soon surpass the lower-ranked cold beasts, at which point this deeply ingrained fear would naturally dissipate over time. Outside the wooden house, Xia Hong distanced himself about 10 meters from the snow mane, then issued a command to it. As soon as the command was given, the previously calm snow mane suddenly raised its head, its pupils gradually turning blood red, and accompanied by increasingly heavy breathing, its expression also became more ferocious. Roar! A dull roar sounded as the snow mane charged straight at Xia Hong like a cannonball. The valley floor was snowless, Yet even so, the snow mane's paws left visible prints as it sprinted. One could imagine the terrifying power generated during its charge. With such a distance, Xia Hong could have easily dodged, but he didn't. Instead, he steadied himself, rooted his feet firmly, leaned his body forward, spread his arms wide, and remained motionless, eyes firmly fixed on the snow mane rushing toward him. Bang! As Xia Hong's hands touched the snow mane's head, it was like an explosion went off with a resounding boom. The snow mane's terrifying impact forced his body backward over 10 meters, wearing through his grass shoes, and leaving a 10-meter-long trail on the ground during his retreat. SHHH. Despite that, Xia Hong leaned forward and, after more than 10 meters, forcibly blocked the snow mane's impact. And not only that. Xia Hong's brows tightened, teeth gritted, exerting force. His arms suddenly twisted, lifting his entire body into the air, spinning, using every ounce of strength. Using the lingering impact from the snow mane, Xia Hong spun its massive body into the air. Boom! The snow mane hit the ground with a loud crash. Xia Hong took the opportunity to roll aside, avoiding its back spikes, and straddled the snow mane's neck, relentlessly pummeling its head with his fists like raindrops. Whiz! After dozens of punches, the snow mane's movements visibly slowed. Just when everyone thought Xia Hong had secured victory, the snow mane suddenly opened its mouth, and its long tongue darted straight toward Xia Hong's chest. Having prepared for this, Xia Hong quickly rose to avoid it, but the distance was too short. Before he could move a meter away, the tongue curved midair and wrapped around him directly. A glimmer in his eye, Xia Hong resolutely intercepted the snow mane's tongue with one hand, steadied himself, ceased retreating, leaped into the air, and fiercely kneed down upon the snow mane's head. Crash snap. Using his knee, the hardest part of his body, Xia Hong's airborne powerful knee strike landed on the snow mane's skull, instantly cracking it with the sound of bone breaking. The snow mane succumbed to this heavy blow, its motion slowly diminishing, indicating severe injury and a near-death state. But its tongue, which he had just intercepted, was already pressed against his neck. Evidently, if the tongue moved further, he would be doomed. This meant 13,000 pounds of basic strength combined with my punch technique. The force I exerted must exceed 15,000 pounds. Yet even so, in a bare-handed fight, I'm still no match for the snow mane. The power of this cold beast is terrifying. Xia Hong stood up, looking at the restored snow mane on the ground, his face filled with seriousness. Chapter 91. Looking for first subscription. Chapter 91. The selection begins. It's important to know that snow mane is currently one of the weaker cold beasts known in Redwood Ridge, perhaps even the weakest to some extent. Yet even the weakest is stronger than the mightiest of Great Xia. Although Xia Hong didn't use weapons in the recent contest, just from those few exchanges, he could already sense that even with a blade, he couldn't confidently say he would win in a solo fight. After all, the snow mane before him was made from a wooden mannequin and wouldn't injure him. Fighting in the wild compared to within a valley was different, and what made snow mane the most dangerous wasn't just its strength but its cunning nature. Despite being awed by the cold beast's strength, when Xia Hong looked at the snow mane manifested from the wooden mannequin again, a fiery eagerness rose in his eyes. This wooden mannequin wasn't just for sparring. As long as it's within the radiation range of the iron refining furnace, it can independently follow instructions to fight. This means that in future camp attacks, the wooden mannequin could act as a super strong guard, not weaker than himself. The only drawback is the considerable consumption of coal stone, requiring 5 units of coal per hour, equivalent to 100 pounds of coal. For an earth-digging realm, the maximum daily extraction is only 200 pounds. Thinking about the mannequin's consumption, Xia Hong lost interest in trying out the frost wolf and demon sheep, quickly turning to look at the group of people at the wooden hut's entrance, at the outermost ring. The method for selecting the first batch of hunting team members is to battle alone against this snow mane. Each person has only one chance. You can choose either a bow and arrow or a broadsword. The 15 who last the longest can become members of the hunting team. At the wooden hut entrance, all those standing in the outermost circle were the campsite's logging realm. Upon hearing Xia Hong's words, their faces didn't show too much surprise. After witnessing Xia Hong's battle with the snow mane, recalling his earlier announcement about selecting hunting team members tonight, they had already guessed it. But battling alone, knowing that this snow mane was made from a wooden mannequin, still made people a bit jittery inside. Luo Yuan, Zhao Long, bring all the weapons over here. Upon hearing Xia Hong's command, Luo Yuan and Zhao Long, along with 7 others without hesitation, neatly placed their broadswords and bows on the ground. At the same time, Qiu Peng and Su Ning also stepped forward, reluctantly placing their bows on the ground. 4 broadswords, 11 bows, just laid out on the ground. 36 logging realm participants, fiery gazes all converged on the weapons. It's not just them, but the camp's ordinary people, especially the reservists close to breaking through to the logging realm. Their gazes were full of longing as they looked at the weapons on the ground. After all, wielding a weapon to enter the hunting team not only demonstrates one's strength, it also indicates a shift in the allocation of cold beast meat and other resources in the camp. In the past, thinking the 4-level meat division system couldn't possibly succeed, they may not have been so eager. But since Xia Hong went out hunting tonight and brought back 3 cold beast catches, proving the feasibility of the 4-level meat division system, everything changed completely. Based on Xia Hong's earlier statement, hunting team members needed earth-digging realm strength, yet considering the actual situation in the camp, 15 would be selected from this group as an exception to prioritize their entry into the hunting team. Hunting team members have a daily cold beast meat allocation of 10 pounds, whereas the logging team gets only 5 pounds, which is twice the difference. Glancing at the cold beast meat already sliced in the wooden hut, everyone's breathing intensified, and their eyes grew even more fervent. Leader, I think for those using a bow, it shouldn't be about who lasts longer. It should be about who is the more accurate archer. Xia Hong turned his head and saw that the one asking was Zhu Yuankai. Seeing Zhu Yuankai and the Li brothers standing beside him, Xia Hong immediately understood. In the previous hunting process, these three's archery accuracy was clearly a cut above the rest. Proposing a selection method that favors oneself is normal. After a moment of thought, Xia Hong looked up at Zhu Yuankai and solemnly responded. You're right, archers should compete on accuracy, but the problem is, I'm selecting hunting team members, not archers. In the wild, a snow mane won't stupidly stand still and let you shoot. At night, besides startling it with the first arrow with your current skill level facing it alone, no matter how accurate you are, you definitely won't get a chance for a second arrow, and once targeted, no matter how accurate your shot, you'll end up dead. Currently, you lack genuine hunting ability, and accompany me on hunts mainly in a supporting role. I don't expect you to inflict significant damage on the cold beast. But at the very least, your survival skills must be strong. I don't wish to be distracted ensuring your safety during hunts, hence the selection method. Do you understand? Upon hearing this answer, whether it was Zhu Yuankai, the Li brothers, or others who recently agreed with the suggestion, they instantly lowered their heads. Including Luo Yuan and others, faces showed varying degrees of shame. Although harsh, Xia Hong's words tackled the truth. With only logging realm strength, let alone facing a cold beast alone, looking at the hunt of 3 cold beasts last night, without Xia Hong, they wouldn't achieve a single catch. Seeing the shame on everyone's faces, Xia Hong didn't mind but addressed everyone, his tone somber. Doubts can prevent mistakes. I don't oppose them. Anyone in the camp has the right to question me, but I must make clear beforehand, any doubt regarding my decision should ideally stem from public interest, not personal interest. Recognizing the severity in Xia Hong's tone, everyone in the camp remained silent, and Zhu Yuankai's trio knew Xia Hong was referring to them, feeling even more ashamed, their heads bowed down. All right, the selection starts now. Who's going first? As Xia Hong's voice fell, Xia Chuan was the first to step forward. I'll go. Xia Chuan didn't choose a weapon, but walked straight up to face the snow mane. After witnessing Xia Chuan's black blade and white thread, Luo Yuan and the others understood why he didn't choose a weapon. Everyone widened their eyes, eager to see how long Xia Chuan could last against the snow mane, and to prepare themselves for their own turn. Just as before, once Xia Chuan was in position, the snow mane charged straight at him. Faced with the massive figure of the snow mane charging at him, Xia Chuan only then realized how terrifyingly powerful his brother Xia Hong was to catch its impact barehanded. Not daring to take it head-on, he swiftly turned aside. Simultaneously, his black blade and white thread were wielded. Being large, the snow mane's momentum was strong, suggesting it couldn't react quickly. Yet, as Xia Chuan turned, it immediately adjusted its course, swiftly closing in on Xia Chuan from behind. Its sharp tusks nearly reached Xia Chuan's waist. He leapt away narrowly, dodging its tusks, only for the snow mane to open its mouth and unleash its long tongue. Swish! The long tongue lashed out. Xia Chuan was ready, and his black blade swung around his head and neck. Apparently, with a strong sense of danger, the snow mane seemed aware of the black blade's threat. The long tongue twisted in midair, winding around Xia Chuan's leg instead. However, before it could extend a meter further, a white thread snaked out from Xia Chuan's left hand, dancing with his fingers as it swiftly ensnared the snow mane's limbs. Quietly landing, Xia Chuan concentrated his gaze, pulling forcefully. The white thread tightened abruptly, binding the snow mane's limbs together, almost toppling it over. So strong. The leader's younger brother, isn't he only 16? The black blade and white thread are so powerful, taken from the wood puppet monster recently. Xia Chuan's impressive maneuvering immediately drew gasps of amazement from everyone in the camp. However, before the astonishment subsided, an unexpected turn occurred. The snow mane seemed to sense the strength of the black blade and white thread, forcefully exerting its limbs, almost instantly breaking free from the white thread's bind. Despite Xia Chuan's effort to tighten, his strength couldn't compare to a full-grown snow mane. Even though the white thread didn't snap, losing its grip meant the snow mane regained its freedom. Before Xia Chuan could react, it furiously charged forward. Without using its long tongue, just one robust charge sent Xia Chuan flying over 10 meters away. Had it not retracted its tusks at the last moment, Xia Chuan might have been impaled. Xia Chuan, 39 breaths. Chapter 92. Chapter 92. The first batch of hunting team members. Xia Chuan's strength is definitely not weak compared to all those in the logging realm at the camp. Not only is it not weak, but without considering combat experience, he is very likely the strongest among them. Yet even so, he could only hold out for 39 breaths against an adult snow mane. Having hunting ability only in the earth-digging realm is truly not an empty phrase. The impact and speed generated when a snow mane fully unleashes its power are unmatched by those in the logging realm, not to mention the long tongue in its mouth, which is hard to guard against at critical moments. In a life-and-death battle, those in the logging realm are really no match for the snow mane. Even iron weapons cannot bridge this gap. Although Xia Chuan didn't use a big knife or bow, the black blade and white thread in his hands are much more formidable than iron weapons, yet he only lasted 39 breaths. The onlookers, including Luo Yuan and others, all bore heavy expressions after the wooden mannequin announced Xia Chuan's results, clearly feeling uncertain in their hearts. Alright, the next selection will be handled by Xia Chuan. Just let me know the results directly later. The result of 39 breaths left Xia Hong with no interest in continuing to watch. He instructed Xia Chuan to take charge of the selection, and then, carrying a sheep horn chisel, walked alone toward a small cave in the southern part of the valley. At the entrance of the cave grew a large expanse of peculiar black plants. The plants were only finger-sized, entirely jet black, with a single stem, but there were at least 20 or 30 tiny leaves growing on them, feather-like and evenly distributed on both sides. Pure black plants are rare, let alone such a large area of them. Right, I wonder if this black tribulus can be used in medicine. I'll use the medicine decoction pot to test it later. Xia Hong had a thought, picked a stalk of black tribulus, and then walked into the cave. The cave wasn't deep, only over 5 meters, with the passageway simply supported by sturdy wood. The deepest part of the inner wall of the cave had a color distinctly different from the passageway and the outside, not only with a layer of jet black sheen, but also with an ice-cold texture to the touch. This cave was naturally the iron mine at Rojal Camp, which was not yet fully exploited. Being busy with the relocation and hunting matters over the past few days, plus having an excess of iron ore, Xia Hong hadn't had the chance to come to see it. Today, having finally some free time, he naturally wanted to take a look. An animal trap uses more iron ore than a big knife, even not considering the system building upgrades needed. As the number of people in the earth-digging realm at the camp increases, the demand for iron ore, just for hunting alone, will presumably be extremely terrifying. Not to mention other tools and equipment that require it. Xia Hong explored the cave for a while, found a suitable spot for mining, focused his energy, and forcefully chiseled at the rock wall with the sheep horn chisel. Clang! The collision of the sheep horn chisel and the rock wall produced a loud noise, with sparks flying instantly. Xia Hong stepped forward, looked at the shallow white mark on the rock wall and didn't get discouraged, merely took a deep breath and continued chiseling at the original spot, one strike after another. Clang, 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 clang. Like the process of forging iron, Xia Hong continuously chiseled, causing sparks to fly within the cave. The shallow white mark on the original rock gradually deepened and widened until, 2 hours later, it finally broke through completely. Crash! With the sound of a fist-sized iron ore rolling to the ground, the already soaked Xia Hong couldn't help but relieve the soreness in his arms by getting rid of the sheep horn chisel with a forceful throw. Breathing heavily, Xia Hong stepped forward, picked up the iron ore, and roughly measured its weight, immediately shaking his head repeatedly in disbelief. 40 plus Jin, the difficulty of mining is downright nightmarish. The difficulty of iron mining is great, despite already having mental preparation. It is only after truly experiencing it did Xia Hong realize exactly how difficult it is. When he first struck, he realized that, like forging iron weapons, unrefined iron ore has an extremely high rebound force. Without a basic strength of over 10,000 Jin, the sheep horn chisel wouldn't even budge it. Furthermore, just like the black tribulus, iron ore grows according to certain rules. It consists of several dozen iron ore pieces of various sizes growing along one main vein. That main vein is also iron ore, but it's too large, and its hardness far exceeds that of the branches. Therefore, chiseling down those varying sizes of iron ore along the main vein is the most labor-saving and time-efficient mining method. 2 hours, 40 plus Jin, this mining intensity, I can only manage twice a day at most, which means I can mine about 100 Jin of iron ore a day. Xia Hong finally understood why, after so many years, Rojal Camp still hadn't popularized iron tools, and even 10 forged weapons weren't fully common. They only had 5 people in the earth-digging realm before. They couldn't be mining every day, and even after mining iron ore, coal stone is needed to smelt it, which is another daunting physical task. Previously, I heard that a person in the earth-digging realm could only mine 200 Jin of coal stone a day, and I was a bit skeptical. Now it seems, mining 200 Jin of coal a day isn't so easy either. Whoosh! Taking a deep breath, Xia Hong picked up the iron ore on the ground and walked directly out of the cave. Currently, there are still 420 points of iron resources in the system, which is definitely enough for the short term, so he's not in a hurry to mine further. In fact, for the current camp, the most cost-effective way to use iron ore is to forge 10 forged weapons. But the problem is that folks like Luo Yuan and Xia Chuan in the logging realm, even if equipped with weapons and greatly enhance their strength, are still not suitable for collaborative hunting. Just like that attempt at Dashi Camp some time ago, the risk remains high. Thus, 5 big knives and 11 bows are certainly enough for now. As for ordinary camp members, with 3 iron knives and 5 hammers, they can still produce some wooden tools. There's no need to acquire more in the short term. By the time Xia Hong exited the cave, the sky was already bright, and the area outside the wooden hut was deserted. Seeing no wooden mannequin, he realized the selection had ended, sensed the increasing external chill, and quickly walked back to the wooden hut. Upon entering the wooden hut, Xia Hong immediately noticed the 15 people standing next to the iron melting furnace. As he approached, Xia Chuan also began reporting the names of the 15 people. Leader, the selection has concluded. The 15 selected individuals are Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, Huang Yang, Zhao Long, Hong Gang, Zhao Hu, Zhao Bao, Li Yun, Li Pinka, Ying Xuan, Yuan Cheng, Yue Feng, Zhu Yuankai, Qiu Peng, Zhu Shun. I held out the longest at 39 breaths, and Zhu Shun held out the shortest at 17 breaths. Following the names reported by Xia Chuan, Xia Hong carefully surveyed the group. Rojal Camp being well established, with Luo Yuan and 7 others being selected, surprised him not. Huang Yang and Hong Gang were leaders of 2 previous camps, with rich experience in dealing with adversaries in the wild, so it wasn't surprising they were selected. The one called Zhu Shun, standing next to Huang Yang, should be a logging realm individual from the Huangzhou camp. However, Xia Hong was indeed a bit surprised that Yuan Cheng, Yue Feng, and Qiu Peng were also selected. The time when these 3 broke through the logging realm was close to Xia Chuan's, but they didn't have Xia Chuan's fortune of gaining the method from the wood puppet monster. The fact that these 3 could be chosen for the hunting team indicates they put in a lot of hard work in their training during this period. Alright, then you 15 are the first batch of the hunting team members of Great Xia. Starting with Xia Chuan, choose a weapon in order of ranking. Pick between the big knife and the bow as you wish." Upon hearing this, Xia Chuan nodded and walked to where the big knives were. The atmosphere among the others tensed instantly at the sight, knowing there were only 4 big knives, and by Xia Hong's stated approach, the ones up front would surely pick the knives first. Those further back would only be able to choose bows. However, unexpectedly, Xia Chuan didn't choose a knife, but rather picked a longbow, then turned and smiled at the others, saying, "My black blade is much stronger than this big knife. I'll leave them for you guys to use." Upon hearing this, everyone was momentarily stunned, and then all exhibited signs of embarrassment. Although Xia Chuan's black blade is indeed strong, it is not a reason for him not to choose the knife. They, being in the logging realm, inherently lack hunting ability. Venturing out is merely to assist Xia Hong by providing some additional hands, and wielding a big knife is clearly much safer than a bow. By not choosing the knife and opting for the bow, Xia Chuan was clearly yielding, something they could not fail to recognize. Indeed, starting with Luo Yuan, no one continued to fixate solely on the big knives. Instead, they chose the weapon that best suited their abilities. Seeing this scene, Xia Hong nodded slightly, feeling somewhat comforted in his heart. A team that's too selfish is destined to not last long, especially in such a harsh environment. If every person only focuses on the few things directly in front of them, dispersal and disintegration would be inevitable. The fact that Great Xia, which was just recently formed by the merger of 4 groups, could achieve the current level is already a significant improvement. Chapter 93, Regrouping at the Camp. In the end, the 4 large knives fell into the hands of Luo Yuan, Zhao Long, Han Gang, and Yuan Cheng, while the remaining 11 men were all equipped with bows and arrows. Leader, the one who lasted the longest among the remaining 21, is Cheng Feng. Cheng Feng, greetings to the leader. As Xia Chuan finished speaking, a middle-aged man in his 30s stepped forward from the back and respectfully bowed to Xia Hong. Xia Hong nodded, glancing behind Cheng Feng at the 20 people who were not selected for the first hunting team. As previously discussed, these 21 would now become members of the woodcutting team, with Cheng Feng, the strongest, serving as the woodcutting team leader. The woodcutting team would venture out with the hunting team, but their duty was primarily to chop trees in the outer regions where danger was minimal. Even if they encountered trouble, given the current hunting area of Great Xia, the hunting team could arrive promptly, so they didn't need weapons, just basic woodcutting tools. However, seeing the downcast expressions on these people's faces, Xia Hong had a thought, glanced at the 15 members of the hunting team and said aloud, "Those not selected this time, don't worry. As I mentioned, members of the first hunting team, although they enjoy the benefits, are temporary. Only by reaching the earth-digging realm will they become true members of the hunting team. You 15 will receive the best resource allocation in the camp, so you should be the quickest to reach the earth-digging realm. If anyone from the woodcutting team achieves it before you, as per the selection results, the last in line will step down for someone from the woodcutting team." Upon hearing this, the 15 newly selected hunting team members visibly tensed up. The woodcutting team, however, showed renewed excitement. "Moreover, I am currently serving as the acting leader of the hunting team. Whoever from you reaches the earth-digging realm first and can lead a hunt, I will appoint as the hunting team leader, and the leader's benefits will double from the hunting team members' baseline. Double? Ordinary hunting team members get 10 pounds per day. So the leader would get 20 pounds a day." Upon realizing this staggering sum, everyone's expression became fervent, and their breathing quickened. With the members of the hunting and woodcutting teams settled, Xia Hong looked up to find that the entire camp's attention was still focused on him. Looking at the cold beast flesh already laid out in front of him, Xia Hong understood why everyone was watching him. He didn't say much, just nodded at Xia Chuan, then waved his hand towards the crowd, saying loudly, "Everyone line up, we're starting, meat distribution." At the mention of distributing meat, the eyes of everyone in the camp lit up. The bustling sound from below reached his ears. Without the need for Xia Chuan to organize, over 700 people, including more than 30 in the logging realm who were eligible to receive cold beast meat, formed an orderly queue. Xia Chuan had prepared earlier, instructing Yuan Cheng, Yue Feng, and Qiu Peng, along with 4 skilled meat cutters, to set up the chopping boards and begin distributing cold beast meat by rank. Luo Yuan, hunting team member 10 pounds. Zhao Long, hunting team member 10 pounds. Zhao Hu, hunting team member, 10 pounds. Cheng Feng, woodcutting team leader, 10 pounds. Lin Kai, woodcutting team member, 5 pounds. According to Xia Hong's rules, within the camp of 900 people, excluding over 100 ordinary people over 30, the remaining 700 plus would all receive cold beast meat. The hunting team of 15 each got 10 pounds, the woodcutting team of 21, except for the leader at 10 pounds, the rest 5 pounds each. The 302 reservists aged 13 to 30 got between 1 and 2 pounds based on basic strength. And for the 392 people under 13, 5 pounds each per month. There was plenty from tonight's 3 prey, so Xia Hong decided to distribute it all at once. Although it seemed like a lot of people, in reality, it was just over 2,000 pounds in total. Of course, the challenge wasn't just for today, but to sustain this every day from now on. With more than half of tonight's 4,280 pounds of cold beast meat used up, everyone in line had received their share, and the inside of the wooden hut was filled with laughter and joy. Those who received meat were eagerly discussing how to prepare it, and those who didn't could see their children or siblings getting some, their faces filled with joy and satisfaction. In fact, the camp consisted of just over 900 people, and the more than 100 who did not receive cold beast meat were over 30, typically having relatives in the reserves, woodcutting, or hunting team by association. Given the logging realm's practice progress, they wouldn't use up 10 pounds of cold beast meat a day, so if they had family in the hunting team, they would likely receive some too. Even if there were no family members in the hunting team, there's always the woodcutting and reserves. It's foreseeable that once their families enter the hunting team and there's meat overflow, they'll eventually receive their share. Leader, the distribution is done. Hunting team 150 pounds, woodcutting team 110 pounds, reserves totaled 420 pounds, and the largest share was the children under 13, totaling 392 people, and they received 1960 pounds collectively. But that's a one-time distribution for a month, totaling 2640 pounds used tonight, with 1640 pounds left. Xia Chuan reported the expenses item by item, then pondered for a moment before continuing. At this rate of distribution, the cold beast meat usage is projected to be 600 to 700 pounds daily over the next 30 days. Xia Hong nodded, as this was consistent with their previous calculations. The number of kids under 13 was 392, but they only received 5 pounds per month, needing only 2,000 pounds in total, not a heavy burden. 5 pounds a month might not seem like much, but it's enough for children to slowly improve their physique, with Xia Hong's focus not on immediate breakthroughs to the logging realm, but laying the groundwork for future reservists. Children raised on crystal fruit versus those raised on cold beast meat would have vastly different physiques, and while the difference may not be apparent right away, over time, the next generation of Daxia camp would experience a revolutionary change. Everyone quiet down. With a simple remark from Xia Hong, the wooden hut fell silent immediately, with everyone turning to look at him, their eyes filled with undisguised fervor and respect. Clearly, this meat distribution event had elevated Xia Hong's status to a frightening level in their hearts. Xia Hong could sense this, but he paid it little heed, speaking in a deep voice. Once the cold beast meat is in your hands, I won't manage it further. Whether you use it yourself, give it away, or even waste it is up to you. But do you remember what I said before? What had he said before? The crowd, enveloped in joy, paused momentarily in confusion. But soon, Luo Yuan and others recalled. Luo Yuan and the Zhao brothers, along with others from Rojal camp, exchanged looks. The 15 men then stepped forward, knelt before Xia Hong, and solemnly declared, "From now on, our lives and deaths are inconsequential, and we will serve the leader's commands." With Luo Yuan and the others' actions, everyone was reminded of what Xia Hong had said earlier. By distributing cold beast meat according to the system, I will manage everything in the camp from now on, including your lives. At this moment, everyone lowered their gaze at the cold beast meat in their hands, then raised their heads to look at Xia Hong. Everyone in the wooden hut, including Xia Chuan, Yuan Cheng, and the great Xia camp's 900-plus people, without hesitation, collectively knelt, reverently saying in unison to Xia Hong, "From now on, our lives and deaths are inconsequential, and we will serve the leader's commands." Xia Hong nodded, exhaling slightly. This indicated that the newly merged Great Xia camp, formed from 4 groups, had solidified its loyalty, and moving forward, As long as they continued hunting and implementing this system steadily, the camp's unity would be secured. With unity, the overall strength improvement becomes naturally inevitable. Chapter 94. Chapter 94, Building a New Wooden House. As the cold beast meat was distributed, everyone couldn't wait to start their training, regardless of it being daytime. Calling it training in reality means eating the cold beast meat and then absorbing the energy contained in it through evaporation to enhance basic strength. Xia Hong did not hold back and instructed Xia Chuan and Yuan Cheng to teach all 4 routines of the long fist thoroughly. So, within a short while, the sound of punching could be heard from the wooden building. The wooden building, with a side length of only 30 meters, also had to accommodate the iron melting furnace and various other materials. With all 900+ people from the camp present, one could imagine the level of crowding inside. Thus, only a small portion of people could practice the punches, mainly from the hunting team and logging team, and only a few reserve members who could find vacant spots. The iron melting furnace has a radiation range of 100 meters square, the temperature within 70 meters. Extension from the wooden building is actually not much different from the inside. Ordinary people can move freely within this range at night. Only the presence or absence of wind makes a distinction. It's not doable during the day. The cold temperature during the day originates from the sunlight. Back when the golden-eyed demon sheep attacked, Xia Hong had tried. Even his earth-digging realm strength couldn't resist the chill contained in the sunlight, let alone the others in the camp. Training itself is an affair for the night. Today everyone didn't bother about day or night because it was the first time they received the cold beast meat and started training directly. But the small wooden building with insufficient space per person was still a fact. Xia Hong frowned slightly, glanced around the crowd, saw Mu Dong in the corner pondering with a wooden board, thought for a moment but didn't approach him. In the following days, Xia Hong led the hunting team, managing to bring back 2 to 3 prey almost every night, and even 4 one night. The supply of cold beast meat was fulfilled according to the earlier set rules without fail every day. Although the excitement of the camp's people had dwindled, their enthusiasm for training grew even higher. When Xia Hong led the team out at night, the camp's reserve members were already practicing punches outside the wooden building, and even when returning from the hunt as dawn approached, the reserves were still mostly outside training. With sufficient cold beast meat and such training enthusiasm, Xia Hong eagerly anticipated the surge of Great Xia's logging realm combat power on that day. As for the logging team, Xia Hong no longer took direct charge, merely listening daily to reports from the team leader Cheng Feng, while monitoring the numerical increase in system log resources. The steady and fulfilling routine continued for 6 days. On the 6th day, when Xia Hong returned to the camp with the hunting team, Cheng Feng and Mu Dong immediately came to him together. As they approached Xia Hong, Cheng Feng spoke first. "Leader, during these days leading the logging team, I familiarized every ice tree on the eastern outskirts of Redwood Ridge. There are a total of 37 trees with the same growth cycle, all of which have just borne fruit. Some weren't fully harvested, so I've led the team to gather them all, resulting in 140,000 jin of crystal fruits." Xia Hong instructed the hunting team to take the prey for processing, then walked to the side of the iron melting furnace and sat down on the ground, signaling Cheng Feng and Mu Dong to also sit first. Technically, with ample supply of cold beast meat, the significance of crystal fruits diminishes, considering only over 100 people in the camp don't receive cold beast meat. Calculating 2 jin per person per day, they wouldn't consume much even in a year. But in reality, cold beast meat as a training resource cannot replace the staple. Presently it is sufficient mainly due to the small population at Great Xia Camp. In the future, as the population grows, with a large base of ordinary people, crystal fruits will remain indispensable. Even just as a reserve food supply, continuing to gather crystal fruits is necessary. More crucially, Xia Hong, using a medicine decoction pot, identified that crystal fruits not only satiate hunger but also have medicinal uses. Over the recent days, using the medicine decoction pot, Xia Hong identified over a dozen medicinal materials like snow mane tongue powder, frost wolf bones, black tribulus, coal stone, iron powder, golden frost, vermilion frost stalk, etc. These more than a dozen medicinal materials cost Xia Hong over 20 units of coal resources, making him quite distressed. The most frustrating part was the failure to generate a formula. It solves the monotony of food, serves as reserve grain, possesses medicinal value, is easy to preserve, and currently there's not much difficulty in gathering for the camp. These stack of factors make harvesting crystal fruits an inevitability that cannot be stopped, including the location survey of ice trees and checking their growth cycles. The current survey only covers a 500-meter range. Keep an eye on this area during future loggings for any omissions. When our hunting range extends inward, your exploration range can expand. Ice trees still hold significant importance to us. Caution is necessary. Cheng Feng nodded, replying respectfully, "Yes, leader." On the other side, seeing Cheng Feng finish speaking, Mu Dong hastily handed over a wooden board, his expression vibrant with excitement. "Leader, I've already drawn up the plan for the new wooden building you mentioned earlier. Please check if it matches your vision." Xia Hong looked down at the diagram etched with a small knife on the wooden board, immediately showing interest. Mu Feng quickly leaned in, pointing at the diagram while explaining to Xia Hong. Following the leader's suggestions, this wooden building is constructed square with a length and width of 200 meters and a height of 15 meters, divided into 3 layers. The middle layer occupies 5 meters, serving as the camp hall without room partitions for meetings and events at the camp, where the iron melting furnace and other communal materials are kept. The bottom layer occupies 3 meters, leaving a passage in central hall, while other areas are partitioned with wooden boards into rooms 10 meters wide. I've calculated, considering a 200-meter side length, excluding the wall structure, a 5-meter wide 75-meter long passage, and a 50-meter wide square central hall, about 300 such rooms can be divided, enough for all ordinary people in the camp. The top layer occupies 5 meters, similar to the bottom layer, with a central hall and passage, an additional large storage room partitioned into 20-meter wide smaller rooms. I've also calculated about 90 rooms can be made, enough to accommodate the current logging and hunting team members. Each floor of the 3-story wooden building is separated by a 1-meter thick wooden board, with the top constructed in the 4-corner conical style you mentioned, covered with beast skin against snow, water, and frost wind erosion. Mu Dong spoke animatedly, with unusual excitement in his tone, evidently showing great approval for Xia Hong's previous idea of rebuilding the wooden house. Xia Hong wiped the sweat off his forehead. He was far from a professional architect, merely suggesting this idea based on a bit of memory he had. Mentioning it to Mu Dong was just a hopeful attempt, unforeseen that the other party would truly bring it to fruition. Though aware that the lumber here differs from the wood he knew in the past, but since it's intended for human habitation, Xia Hong seriously asked, "Mu Dong, do you think building such a wooden building is feasible?" Mu Dong was momentarily stunned, then immediately nodded, replying, "Of course it's feasible," then showed a slight hesitation, hesitating as he said, "However, there are several very challenging issues that are hard to resolve." "Tell me, I'll see if there's a way to resolve them." After pondering for a moment, Mu Dong replied, "The massive demand for wood, the variety of tools needed, a considerable amount of iron materials required, and lastly, the extended time for piling. Further, some areas might require your hands-on oversight, leader." Chapter 95, Camp Supply Station and Craftsman Workshop. 4 major challenges. The first 3, according to Xia Hong, are manageable. Such a massive wooden house requires an enormous amount of golden frost trees. Mu Dong knows the basic mortise and tenon structures, and it's certain that a batch of different iron tools needs to be crafted to assist. Due to the size of the wooden house and the distinction of so many functions, supplementing key parts with a certain amount of iron materials is necessary. The hardest part is driving ground stakes right. At a height of 15 meters, the structure uses whole golden frost wood, and the digging depth of ground stakes must be at least 2 meters. Calculating from a side length of 200 meters, you'll need to dig a total trench of 800 meters long, 3 meters wide, and 2 meters deep. Upon hearing Mu Dong's answer, Xia Hong felt a little faint. During this period, he dug pits and set animal traps for hunting, where each time he only dug half a meter deep, 1 meter in diameter, and even that took over an hour. A trench 3 meters wide, 2 meters deep, and 800 meters long, if truly left to him alone to dig, he estimated it would take 1 to 2 years, even if he worked without rest. The concept of this new wooden house is based on the radiation range of the iron refining furnace. By his estimation, once built, it could accommodate at least 8,000 to 10,000 people. It was never intended to be completed immediately. But taking several years is surely exaggerated. Leader, there is a way to shorten the ground staking time. What way? Yudong pointed at the iron refining furnace and said, the high temperature from burning coal stones can soften the ground. Once the ground is softened, the people from the logging realm can dig. We can place the iron refining furnace along the outline for driving stakes, moving it section by section, and dig apart each time we move. If the coal stone supply is uninterrupted, I've calculated that it could be done in about 4 months. Xia Hong realized this was indeed the only way and frowned. It's not that this method is bad, but the issue is it brings a shortage of coal stone. The iron refining furnace consumes 20 units of coal stones per day, which is a full 400 pounds of coal stones. In fact, if it burns wood, it only requires 5 units per day, and the temperature range improved would be the same as with coal stones. But the problem is that the softening of the ground relies on the heat emitted by coal stones, just like melting iron ore, which cannot be achieved with wood, so coal stones must be used. Resources: wood 2690, coal 290, iron 430, silver 0, gold 0. These days, the accumulation of wood resources is rapid. During the hunting trips, he also visited coal mines several times, and as heard before, with his current strength, he can only mine around 200 pounds a day, and the speed for iron is even slower. The method proposed by Yudong, with a continuous daily consumption of 400 pounds of coal stones, is simply unrealistic, yet it is the only way to speed up the staking process. It's impossible to let him drive stakes alone. There must still be enough people from the logging realm and earth-digging realm. Without strength and resources, nothing will work out. Let's go with this method first. Cheng Feng, when you take the logging team out to cut trees, try as much as possible to choose golden frost trees. The size and thickness needed will be communicated between you and Yudong. I won't interfere with this matter for now. Whatever iron tools are needed, Yudong, let me know, and I'll forge them when I find time. Yes, leader. Yudong and Cheng Feng nodded, turning together to leave. Driving stakes is certainly the hardest part. The other preparations are easier to talk about. To move into a spacious, large house in a short time is certainly not possible. Just as the two left, Xia Chuan and Yuan Cheng came looking for him again. Leader, the cold beast meat has been distributed tonight, and our current reserves of cold beast meat have reached 11,300 pounds, all stored in the mine on the south side of the valley. In 6 days, combined with the extra 1,640 pounds from the first day, the cold beast meat reserves have reached over 10,000 pounds, entirely within Xia Hong's expectations. Over 6 days, the hunting team could bring back 2 to 3 prey each night, but only consumed 600 to 700 pounds, so the surplus is normal. In extreme cold environments, long-term preservation of cold beast meat is naturally not a problem. However, considering the future, the reserves of cold beast meat would continue to increase. After pondering, Xia Hong looked at Xia Chuan and Yuan Cheng and said, the camp's wood, cold beast meat, coal, iron, tools, and weapons will all need dedicated management in the future. I'm planning to set up a camp supply station. For now, only 2 positions are needed, a primary and an assistant camp supply officer. Can the 2 of you handle it? Xia Chuan and Yuan Cheng exchanged a glance. A hint of excitement flashed across their faces, nodding simultaneously at Xia Hong. Xia Hong did not hesitate, calling everyone together and directly announcing the 2 as camp supply officers, with Xia Chuan as the primary and Yuan Cheng as the assistant. Managing all essential camp supplies is crucial, and Xia Hong naturally had to entrust it to those he trusted most. Xia Chuan and Yuan Cheng were the best choices. The continuous distribution of cold beast meat over 7 nights had thoroughly established Xia Hong's prestige. Even people like Luo Yuan, Han Gang, and Huang Yang showed no objections when hearing his appointments. Additionally, besides the camp supply station, another institution, the craftsman workshop, will be established, with Yudong as the workshop master, responsible for all construction tasks in the camp. Besides the benefits from the hunting and logging teams, you 3 will also receive an additional duty benefit of 30 pounds of cold beast meat per month. Initially, upon hearing the appointments, the crowd had no particular reaction, but when Xia Hong mentioned the duty benefit, everyone's eyes instantly lit up. Leader, can we join the camp supply station and craftsman workshop? Xia Hong turned his head, noticing a young reserve member asking, and shook his head. You must be a member of the logging team to apply for these institutions. Whether you can join depends firstly on the institution leader's confirmation, and secondly on my approval. The terms for the craftsman workshop can be relaxed if you have special manufacturing skills. Mudong can audit and then report to me for approval. With the current resource inventory of Great Xia, Xia Chuan and Yuan Cheng are sufficient for the camp supply station without needing additional people. The craftsman workshop, however, is flexible. Even without cultivation in the logging realm with iron tools, some wooden tools can still be crafted. Upon hearing the craftsman workshop's conditions, many ordinary people in the camp began to think actively. If they couldn't break through to the logging realm in the short term, finding another way into the craftsman workshop for extra cold beast meat to accelerate their cultivation speed would be beneficial indeed. Special manufacturing skills. Everyone began brainstorming intensely. Seeing everyone deep in thought, Xia Hong also harbored some anticipation. The current iron tools in the camp include only saws and iron knives, yet plenty of wooden tools have been created. However, due to the camp's recent consolidation and the severe setbacks from before, wood is not yet abundant enough. Thus, except for some small essentials like wooden buckets and ladles, no large items have been produced. Even wooden beds are only available to the hunting and logging team members. But as the logging team continues to bring back more wood, and with the craftsman workshop system in place, Xia Hong believes more and more wooden products will emerge. The 10 saws are currently used by the logging team, and the 3 iron knives are mainly for processing cold beasts, so I need to help forge a batch of iron carpenter tools. Let me think. What woodworking tools were there in the previous life? Measuring tools, small hand saws, wood planes, files, hand chisels. Though Xia Hong is not a woodworker, relying on memories to think of tools for woodworking and then crafting them using a polishing stone, simply imitating the shapes is feasible. All these tasks only need a head start to progress. With these tools, the many people in the camp will naturally innovate continually. Chapter 96, Mad Hunting and Steady Improvement. The civilization of humanity in the ice abyss world, although fallen, is not completely lost. From the beginning of his journey, Xia Hong had already discovered this. While humans have indeed regressed to a primitive era to some extent, this was largely due to the extreme environment's pressure. Yet, from many aspects, one can still see traces of civilization's former existence. From the human camp's concepts of family and marriage, surname culture, funeral rites, even the writing system, down to basic craftsmanship, gathering tools and leather products, up to cooking food and avoiding raw water and so on. Initially, Xia Hong thought these retained habits were due to the disaster that caused civilization's downfall not being too distant in past. But he overturned this idea considering the harsh cold environment and biological evolution. Earth's temperature requires centuries to shift by a few degrees, but the extreme cold climate of the ice abyss world, the might of the cold beast, and even the inexplicable deceitful monster, obviously couldn't have formed in a short time. Based on what he heard from Xiqing, according to Yang and Li, the archaic abyss era might be exceedingly distant. Thus, concluding this way, humanity's endurance of so many civilized habits must be credited to civilization's own resilience. Extreme environments can drastically reduce populations, but it's not that simple to completely erase a civilization with no trace. The human desire to survive is one of the most powerful forces in existence. What other camps are like, Xia Hong isn't sure. But having arrived in the ice abyss world and been born around Redwood Ridge, he often feels fortunate. In extreme environments, the extent of human malice burst equals the extent of kindness that can grow. This is the power of civilization, or one could say, the inertia of civilization. This is precisely proven by all the camps around Redwood Ridge. If civilization had truly fallen completely, there wouldn't exist people venturing out to gather resources to feed hundreds of ordinary people, or talk of sharing cold beast meat with others would be absurd. Civilization can raise wisdom, mutual support, helping each other, unity and cohesion, responsibility and sharing, any resistance to selfish behavior. These are manifestations of wisdom. The primary reason for humanity's dire situation is the extreme cold environment, followed by cold beasts and deceitful monsters. Extreme cold makes food and travel problematic. Cold beasts and deceitful monsters make safety unguaranteed. To thoroughly eliminate these 3 issues seems nearly impossible at present. Unity, strengthening power, adapting to environments, continuously responding to challenges posed by cold beasts and deceitful monsters is humanity's only way out. Faced with these three issues, Xia Hong thought for a long time and came to this conclusion. Change the last humanity to Great Xia. And this conclusion, under Xia Chuan and others' promotion, soon became a well-known ideological guide in the Great Xia camp. This statement would suit humanity more, but given the current strength of the Great Xia camp, proclaiming it blatantly feels slightly rhetorical, grandiloquent. No, any collective organization can do without ideological guidance. To put it simply, it's about ensuring that every person in the camp knows what they're doing and why they're doing it. Only then they'll have the drive toward a common goal. With ideological guidance, and accompanied by Xia Hong leading frenzied hunts, with sufficient cold beast meat distribution, in the subsequent period, everyone in the Great Xia camp visibly busied themselves. The hunting team, led personally by Xia Hong, almost returned fully loaded every night, though occasionally some injuries occurred, mainly minor. A month following the policy's official implementation, during the second distribution of cold beast meat to children under 13 in the camp, the reserve of cold beast meat in the camp's mine already reached over 30,000 pounds, enough to last 2 months without hunting. Xia Hong had not concerned himself with the logging team matters, leaving it to Cheng Feng and Mu Dong, yet from the growth in his resource data, and the height of timber stacked on both sides of the valley, the logging team's gains were also significant during this period. The plan to build new cabins had already spread within the camp by Mu Dong, so during this time, the logging team focused mainly on cutting down the golden frost trees. It's worth mentioning that since cold beasts frequently huddle on the golden frost trees, sometimes cooperation from the hunting team is necessary. They first hunt the beasts on the trees, and then the logging team proceeds with cutting. Although the Rojal camp had penetrated the Redwood Ridge's 1,000-meter area before, in this time, Xia Hong still limited the huntings and logging area of the Great Xia camp to 500 meters on the outskirts without leading anyone further in. For one, he wasn't familiar with the inner surroundings, nor had encountered new types of cold beasts, wary of potential issues. For another, resources the Great Xia currently needs are abundantly within the 500 meters on the periphery, with no need for further depth. The area where Great Xia currently gathers resources at Redwood Ridge is no longer limited to the meager initial 500 meters. Rojal Dushi, Daxuan, Huangzhou, including its previous territory, now wholly undisputed belonged to Great Xia, from the east side of Redwood Ridge, from the valley's position southward for 4 kilometers. With such a vast space for resource gathering, Xia Hong naturally avoids advancing foolishly, focusing first on gradually strengthening power, and waiting until the periphery resources can't sustain the camp's development to delve deeper, undoubtedly more prudent. The hunting team and logging team faced heavy tasks, yet not a trace of fatigue could be found on the 36 individuals' faces. Instead, their enthusiasm grew with each outing, and their smiles returned even brighter each time. Xia Hong clearly knew the reason because these people, himself included, were enhancing their strength at a remarkably rapid pace. Others he didn't specifically delve into, but regarding the 15 members of the hunting team who followed him each night, he was aware of how astonishing their progress was during this period. The daily consumption of cold beast meat by the logging realm ranges from 5 to 10 pounds, while these 15 from the hunting team receive 10 pounds each night, their supply far exceeding consumption, enabling them to absorb and enhance in an almost extreme state every day. Moreover, Xia Hong's 4 sets of long fists had been fully transmitted down, with martial arts enhancing their absorption rate, thus naturally accelerating their improvement. According to Xia Hong's observations during hunts, it's expected that Luo Yuan would be the first to break through to the earth-digging realm, followed by the 3 Zhao siblings. Another unexpected individual for Xia Hong was Xia Chuan. A month ago, during the first outing with the animal trap for hunting, Xia Chuan's strength was just under 7,000 pounds, and within a mere month, he had risen nearly to 8,000 pounds, now matching the Zhao siblings, only slightly under Luo Yuan. Although Xia Hong hasn't paid special attention to the logging team and reserves training conditions, deducing from their fervor for training upon returning from outings each day, he can guess the situation somewhat. The camp's overall strength is steadily rising, and given equivalent circumstances of cold beast meat supply, Xia Hong understands that next, he merely awaits the arrival of the explosive period. Of course, while others steadily progress, he himself cannot fall behind. After 1 month of the new regulations in Great Xia, Xia Hong gave the hunting team its first night off, and after distributing the cold beast meat as usual, he walked alone to the spot outside his cabin, where the force measuring stake was stored. Those who were already training outside noticed Xia Hong's movements, realized he was about to test his strength, and immediately stopped what they were doing, eagerly gathering around him. Chapter 97, 15,000. In a month, Xia Chuan increased from less than 7,000 to 8,000, gaining over 1,000 jin. Luo Yuan went from just over 8,000 to almost 9,000, increasing by more than 800. The three Zhao brothers also increased from over 7,000 to 8,000, which is around 800 as well. They can eat at most 8 jin of cold beast meat a day, while I've been consuming 20 to 30 jin a day this month, basically reaching the limit of my intake. My strength improvement should be even higher than theirs. Regarding the increase in his strength, Xia Hong had a rough idea, but to know the exact number, testing was necessary. He noticed the crowd watching, but paid it no mind and began handling the force measuring stake by himself. He first placed a 10,000 jin pile at the bottom, then added 5 more 1,000 jin piles on top, hesitated for a moment, and added another one. Xia Hong took a deep breath, squatted, and wrapped his arms around the base 10,000 jin pile. Then, with a loud shout, he slowly exerted force at an extremely slow speed. All the onlookers were already holding their breath. As Xia Hong stood up, the force measuring stake slowly lifted off the ground. 10 centimeters, 20 centimeters, half a meter, 1 meter. Until finally, as Xia Hong fully stood up, the force measuring stake remained securely in his arms, and a touch of reverence appeared in everyone's eyes. Bang! 15,000 jin. I should be able to add a few hundred more at the limit. The increase over this period is not bad. Xia Hong directly slammed the force measuring stake to the ground, massaging his nearly exhausted arms, a hint of joy appearing in his eyes. Previously, when fighting Snow Mane with the wooden mannequin, his basic strength was over 13,000. In just a month, it increased by nearly 2,000, which is quite a substantial improvement. However, judging from the increase, his improvement was obviously not as good as Xia Chuan's, Luo Yuan's, and others, consuming 2 to 3 times their resources, yet the increase slowed down. This also proves that the higher the basic strength goes, the harder it becomes to improve further. Fortunately, cold beast meat supply is no longer a problem now. As long as I continue with this steady improvement, the 30,000 jin limit will be reached sooner or later. Luo Ming mentioned before that the limit of the earth-digging realm is 30,000 jin, but after reaching that limit, he doesn't know how to advance strength any further. How to break through to the cold resistance level that Yang Ning and Li Hu mentioned, I have no clue. Xia Hong frowned slightly but soon relaxed. From the current rate of increase, reaching the 30,000 jin limit is still far away. Even if there's no clue about future cultivation methods, there's no need to worry for now. Where there's a will, there's a way. When the 30,000 jin limit is reached, I might as well go explore the arrow bamboo forest like Luo Ming and ask questions at the giant camp called Beehive. After testing his strength, Xia Hong turned around and found that all the people who were just watching were still staring dumbfoundedly at the force measuring stake on the ground without dispersing. What are you staring at? Did you stuff yourselves with cold beast meat? If you want to become as strong as me, stop wasting time here and get to training. Hearing Xia Hong's teasing, everyone burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, leader, we don't dare compare with you. Breaking through to the logging realm is already good enough for us. Ate too much cold beast meat recently. Feels like I'm stuffed indeed. If you can't eat that much, share some with me. They. A few bold kids continued Xia Hong's joke, bantered with each other a bit, but after a burst of laughter, everyone quickly dispersed and began their own training. Watching the crowd scatter, Xia Hong felt much lighter at heart. Even compared with the situation on the slope before, or even just a month ago, the people in the camp obviously have gained a significant boost in spirit and morale. Previously, it was incredibly hard to find even a single smile among the people in the camp, let alone any lighthearted joke. When survival becomes a problem, safety isn't assured and there's no hope, people can't be lighthearted. The continuous distribution of cold beast meat has ignited a flame of hope in everyone's hearts. In the current Great Xia, while survival isn't entirely secure, and safety isn't fully guaranteed, at least in these people's hearts. There's hope and something to look forward to. Walking back to the log cabin, the original location of the iron refining furnace had shifted over 10 meters to the left. Along the path of the iron refining furnace's shift, a 2-meter-deep trench had appeared on the ground. Luo Yuan, Xia Chuan, Zhao Long, and Yuan Cheng, each with a sheep horn chisel in hand, were continuously digging in the trench. This trench is meant for piling for a newly built log cabin. 1 month, 15 meters. At this rate, excavating an 800-meter trench for piling would take about 4 to 5 years. Thinking about the 800-meter total length of the trench, Xia Hong's eyes went a bit dark. The ground softened by coal stone using the iron refining furnace can indeed be dug through by those in the logging realm, but the problem is, firstly, coal stone is limited, and the camp can't burn coal for warmth every day. Secondly, there are only 36 people in the logging realm, who also need to log and hunt, so they can't dig trenches every day. Therefore, over the past month, Xia Hong could only allow some logging realm people to take turns digging while burning coal stones. During this time, he himself also joined in digging. Even the hardened ground without coal stone softening can be dug through by him, but no matter how capable he is at digging, it's of no use alone. To speed up the piling process, there are 2 ways. Either burn more coal stones to speed up the softening of the ground, allowing more logging realm people to join in the digging. The difficulty lies in obtaining enough coal stones, which requires a large number of people in the earth-digging realm. Or have the earth-digging realm people dig directly without using coal stones to soften the ground, which also requires more earth-digging realm people. So ultimately, there aren't enough earth-digging realm people. This is an unsolvable problem. Xia Hong jumped into the trench, grabbed the tool from Luo Yuan's hand and said, "You go train, I'll dig for a while." "Leader, I'm not tired. I can still dig for a bit, it's okay." A clueless Luo Yuan thought Xia Hong was worried about him and wanted to take back the tool, but upon seeing Xia Hong's insistent gaze, he could only relent. Luo Yuan climbed out of the trench, and turning back, saw Xia Hong had already replaced him in digging. A sense of gratitude welled up in his heart as he hurried to train. "I really can't handle this alone. You kid, if you don't break through soon, neither coal nor iron will last for long." Resources: wood 6835 coal, 160 iron, 270 silver, 0 gold, 0. Seeing the coal and iron resources in the system depleting day by day, Xia Hong's yearning for Luo Yuan to break through to the earth-digging realm was probably even more urgent than Luo Yuan's own desire. Wood supply has soared this month, but coal and iron are already in a state of deficit. Continuing like this, they might run out in just a few months. The new log cabin is under preparation, with many iron materials needing to be prepared. Mu Dong comes to him almost daily to make things, and a batch of woodworking tools for Mu Dong used a significant amount of coal and iron recently. His main duty is to lead hunting operations, but he can only spare limited time for mining, resulting in a negligible harvest of coal, stone, and iron ore, totally insufficient for camp consumption. If coal and iron run out before Luo Yuan breaks through, Xia Hong will have to reduce the frequency of hunting trips to dedicate more time to mining coal and iron ores. Sighing silently, Xia Hong focused on digging the trench. After digging for a short while, a prompt sounded in his mind. The medicine decoction pot has automatically generated a golden sore powder recipe based on the recorded item. Hearing the prompt, a flash of joy appeared on Xia Hong's face. He quickly put down the sheep horn chisel, walked out of the trench, and headed towards the medicine decoction pot. When Xia Hong reached the medicine decoction pot, he saw Cheng Feng taking out a pale blue plant from it. Smelling the plant's faint fragrance, Xia Hong's eyes lit up. "Leader, why are you here?" Seeing Xia Hong approaching, Cheng Feng was slightly surprised. Noticing Xia Hong's eager gaze, he quickly handed the plant over to him. Chapter 98. Chapter 98 Golden Sore Powder. The specific effects of the medicine decoction pot were unclear to Cheng Feng. A month ago, Xia Hong personally approached him and instructed him to observe the plants outside while logging, bringing back anything that seemed medicinal or particularly rare and valuable. Though he didn't understand why, Cheng Feng followed Xia Hong's orders and kept an eye out during the past month, managing to bring back more than 10 unique plants. The medicine decoction pot looked quite magical, but so far, Cheng Feng hadn't noticed any practical use. On the contrary, every time plants were added, an undetermined amount of coal stone had to be consumed to trigger a reaction. This so-called reaction was merely a faint light emitted from the medicine decoction pot. Although it appeared magical, without any tangible results, the plants remained unchanged despite time spent inside. After a while, Cheng Feng wondered why Xia Hong wanted him to do this. Where did this blue frost grass come from? Blue frost grass. Realizing Xia Hong was referring to the pale blue plant he had brought back, Cheng Feng quickly responded. It was from the outskirts of Redwood Ridge, growing on snowy ground beside a blue tree. There were many of them, and I detected a faint fragrance, thinking it might be useful. Leader, do you know if the blue frost grass is very effective? Though unsure of the medicine decoction pot's specific effects, Cheng Feng could deduce a few things from Xia Hong's previous instructions. Connecting this with the joy he saw on Xia Hong's face earlier, he immediately sensed he had brought back something useful. Hearing that there were many of these plants, Xia Hong's face lit up with joy. He quickly asked, "You didn't cut down the tree, did you?" Cheng Feng shook his head and replied, "No, recently we've been focusing on cutting golden frost trees, only going for vermilion frost when we can't find any. This type of blue tree is of average hardness, and we didn't cut it since it's the first time we've seen it." Then mark the location of the tree. It must not be cut in the future. The blue frost grass is likely a companion plant to that tree and very valuable. Listening to Xia Hong's earnest instructions, Cheng Feng nodded. Grind 1 stalk each of blue frost grass and black tribulus into powder, half a pound of coal stone powder, 1 pound of golden frost, and 10 pounds of frost wolf bones ground into powder. Then add water and boil for half an hour. Looking at the formula for golden sour powder, Xia Hong's expression shifted slightly, and he instructed Cheng Feng to bring Xia Chuan over. He then relayed the ingredients to Xia Chuan for retrieval from the mine warehouse. Both coal stone and blue frost grass were readily available, and black tribulus grew by the mine. Golden frost grows at the top of the golden frost tree, appearing white and oval, somewhat like a fruit. There's only one per tree, weighing between 10 to 50 pounds. Frost wolf bones, as the name suggests, are the ring of spines around a frost wolf's neck. An adult frost wolf has over a dozen, each weighing about 10 pounds. A while back, Xia Hong ordered anything deemed medicinally valuable, as identified by the medicine decoction pot, to be collected and stored in the mine warehouse. Xia Chuan, the camp supply officer, managed these materials and the cold beast meat. Soon, Xia Chuan gathered all the items Xia Hong had mentioned. Xia Hong personally handled the preparation, quickly readying all the materials. He then had a large wooden tub of water brought in, threw all the materials into the medicine decoction pot, poured water, added 10 units of coal stone, or 200 pounds, and began the concoction process. At first, everyone was puzzled, but as time passed, a distinct aroma wafted from the medicinal ingredients inside the medicine decoction pot, and they realized that Xia Hong was concocting medicine. A sense of anticipation appeared on everyone's faces. Unsurprisingly, Xia Hong himself was the most eager. Golden sour powder, based on its name, seemed similar to the golden sour medicine from martial arts novels in his past life, intended for treating external injuries. This would be extremely valuable medicinally for the current Great Xia. Those who stayed at the camp, or were members of the logging team, typically remained unscathed under normal conditions. But for the hunting team members, dealing daily with powerful cold beasts posed a different challenge. Though they now had animal traps and Xia Hong led their missions, as long as they avoided overly powerful or unfamiliar beasts, fatalities were rare, but injuries were unavoidable. Even Xia Hong at the earth-digging realm wasn't exempt, let alone those at the logging realm, who frequently sustained injuries from cold beasts, often nightly occurrences. Without medicinal treatment, they could only wait for injuries to heal naturally. Despite a strong constitution allowing self-recovery from most wounds, more severe injuries could lead to lasting aftereffects, disability, infection, or even death. Moreover, the system's products had never disappointed Xia Hong before, and while the golden sour powder's name sounded plain, its efficacy could only be confirmed through testing. The commotion from the medicine decoction pot grew louder, and the steam from within became denser. As the steam billowed, a unique fragrance continued to emanate. After half an hour, the coal stone at the bottom extinguished with a pop, and the medicine decoction pot fell silent. As the last wisp of steam dissipated, Xia Hong approached, opened the lid of the medicine decoction pot, and many gathered around. All eyes focused on the interior of the medicine decoction pot. A heap of golden yellow, dry medicinal powder appeared before everyone's eyes. The aromatic scent from the powder left an indulgent expression on everyone's faces. Bring Zhu Yuankai and Zhu Shun over. At Xia Hong's command, the crowd stirred, and soon Zhu Yuankai and Zhu Shun emerged from the periphery. Zhu Yuankai's right cheek was wrapped in a piece of beast skin. Zhu Shun limped on his left leg, occasionally wincing in pain. Today, Xia Hong gave the hunting team a holiday because of them. Last night, while leading the hunt for a golden-eyed demon sheep, the tree they were hiding in while shooting was knocked over by the demon sheep, leaving them both badly injured. Show me your wounds, and I'll apply the medicine to test its effect. Upon hearing Xia Hong's words, they didn't hesitate and immediately revealed their wounds. Zhu Yuankai unwrapped the beast skin, revealing a 5-inch long, hideous gash that stretched from his chin to his forehead, a disturbing sight. Fortunately, people in the ice abyss world didn't worry about appearances. In his past life, this kind of injury would leave someone ashamed for life. Zhu Shun rolled up his pant leg, unwrapped the beast skin, revealing a more than 20-centimeter long wound on his left leg, with surrounding blood still seeping out. The wound looked even more terrifying compared to Zhu Yuankai's. Seeing their injuries, those surrounding the medicine decoction pot couldn't help but gasp. You know, the cold beast meat you eat daily isn't from thin air. Taking this chance for education, Xia Hong didn't miss the opportunity. Noticing the surprise on their faces, he promptly reminded them. As soon as he said this, even the reserve force members who had never left camp and the logging team members showed expressions of shame on their faces. After which, Xia Hong didn't say more, as some things were better left unsaid. A simple reminder of their origins was sufficient. Using a wooden spoon, he scooped out a bit of the golden sore medicine powder and carefully applied it to Zhu Yuankai's facial wound. The moment the powder touched the wound, a clear reaction occurred, and Zhu Yuankai couldn't help but gasp from the pain. Zhu Shun experienced the same process, his larger leg wound requiring more powder. Leader, it feels itchy. Wait, it's really itchy. My face itches a lot. Xia Hong reacted with surprise to Zhu Yuankai's remark right after applying the powder to Zhu Shun's wound. Itchy? A scab already, in just a few minutes. Xia Hong looked slightly skeptical, hurriedly approaching Zhu Yuankai and closely observing the wound on his face. After just a brief glance, Xia Hong's face was immediately filled with joy. Chapter 99. Chapter 99. Life is improving. Zhu Yuankai's face wound was from last night. It was simply wrapped in beast skin for basic hemostasis. It wasn't even close to scabbing, and the flesh was not yet healed. But after applying the golden sore powder in just a few minutes, not only did the flesh close, but the necrotic parts also started bubbling visibly, then solidifying and forming a scab. This golden sore powder is simply miraculous. On the other side, Zhu Shun was also hissing in disbelief, as the wound on his leg rapidly healed like Zhu Yuankai's. This medicine is too powerful. Is this a formula developed by the leader? With this medicine, we won't have to fear getting hurt in the future. I just saw the materials the leader put in, and they all looked ordinary, except that blue grass which seemed rarer. The onlookers who witnessed this miraculous scene were dumbfounded. The people from the logging team and the hunting team were ecstatic, obviously more aware of the powder's importance than others. Cheng Feng, collect more blue frost grass in the future. If possible, understand the growth patterns of this grass and note the location of those blue trees, but make sure not to cut them down. Yes, leader. This golden sore powder is an absolute lifesaver. All the ingredients in the golden sore powder formula are pretty common, except for the blue frost grass. Realizing the importance of blue frost grass, Xia Hong immediately issued several instructions to Cheng Feng. If conditions were mature, he would want to transplant those blue trees into the valley. After confirming the effectiveness of the golden sore powder, Xia Hong gazed at the medicine decoction pot with even more enthusiasm. He realized its importance when he first activated the medicine decoction pot structure, but the astonishing power of the first formula exceeded even his expectations. If this is just for healing, and it's already this strong, what if one day, when enough medicinal materials are recorded, it can generate a formula for Dan medicine to enhance strength and cultivation? Wouldn't that be even more incredible? Thinking of these possibilities made Xia Hong even more excited. He remembered Cheng Feng didn't know the function of the medicine decoction pot yet and quickly called him over to explain. Although others can use the medicine decoction pot by consuming coal stone to identify medicinal items, the recorded medicines and formed formulas only display on the system, so only Xia Hong knew. Previously, when asking Cheng Feng to keep an eye out for items with potential medicinal value, Xia Hong hadn't explained the reason. This time, he spilled everything, leaving Cheng Feng suddenly enlightened, his eyes burning with enthusiasm as he looked at the medicine decoction pot. So in future logging, you must be vigilant. Bring back anything special that might have medicinal value to try. Cheng Feng nodded heavily, keeping this matter firmly in mind. Xia Hong packed all the remaining powder from the medicine decoction pot into a wooden box, estimating it to be about 5 pounds. Reflecting on the golden soar powder's formula and the materials just consumed, he grew worried again. The yield of blue frost grass was uncertain, but based on Cheng Feng's description, those blue trees must be exceedingly rare in Redwood Ridge. Otherwise, he wouldn't have missed them before. Black tribulus only grows where there is iron ore, so it's precious too. But on the southern side of the valley, quite a few grow, which should suffice for some time. Golden frost, coal stone, and frost wolf bones aren't particularly rare, and the usage for each isn't much, so those are manageable. The hardest parts of the golden soar powder formula are blue frost grass and black tribulus, followed by coal consumption. Each batch burnt requires 10 units of coal resources, equivalent to 200 pounds of coal stone. During the test, Xia Hong didn't care much, but when he saw the coal resources in the system drop from 160 to 150, he immediately felt the pinch. The joy from witnessing the powerful effect of the golden soar powder subsided significantly. Although earning from crafting 5 pounds of this life-saving powder is certain, the great Xia currently can't afford to use it freely. Given the frequency of hunting team injuries, 5 pounds of golden soar powder might only last 2 weeks. Producing a batch every half-month would exhaust the camp's coal resources quickly, not to mention coal is used for more than just this. Looks like in the future, we'll have to be careful. Until coal resources are ample, minor injuries will have to be endured. This golden soar powder should only be used in life-threatening situations. Xia Hong shook his head. The tight resource situation was truly troubling. The powerful effect of the medicine decoction pot should drive him to organize a team dedicated to collecting medicinal resources. After all, discovering a formula for performance-enhancing medicine would be extremely profitable. But the camp's coal resources aren't enough even for assessment purposes right now. Moreover, according to previous assessment patterns, the more precious the item, the more coal it consumes during assessment. If there were truly valuable medicinal resources that could enhance cultivation, the required coal would likely be astronomical. Thinking about this, Xia Hong put away the golden soar powder wooden box and couldn't help glancing at Luo Yuan and others training outside the wooden house. Could only hope these people would break through soon and join him in mining coal. Big brother Mu Dong has made a few things. Come and take a look. With the wooden box in hand, Xia Hong was pondering where to place it. Xia Chuan came running from inside the wooden house, calling him over to have a look. Seeing Xia Chuan's mysterious smile, Xia Hong followed in confusion. Passing through the crowd inside the wooden house, he found many people surrounding Mu Dong in layers, occasionally letting out exclamations of surprise. The leader is here, make way, make way. Xia Chuan shouted ahead to clear a path, and the crowd quickly parted, allowing Xia Hong to take a few steps forward. When he saw what everyone was surrounding, his face froze in surprise. The crowd was gathered around a chair. The chair was about 1.67 meters in total height, with a seat height of approximately 50 centimeters and a seat width of 1.40 meters. It had a curved back with carved images of snow mane, frost wolf, and demon sheep with vivid and lifelike ferocity, impressive enough to make Xia Hong marvel. The chair was evidently crafted from golden frost wood, with a faint golden glow under the firelight. However, the armrests were innovatively made with red frost wood, appearing finely polished and textured. On the armrests, 9 fist-sized carvings made of beast bone resembling white jade were embedded, each depicting various scenes of cold beasts, trees, weapons, and even the camp valley, clearly intended for admiration. With a curious expression, Xia Hong approached the chair and noticed a clean blue frost wolf skin spread on the seat. He couldn't help looking at Mu Dong and the others, suppressing several comments. Chairs weren't particularly novel items. Rojal Camp used to have many before being destroyed by the wood puppet monster incident. Even though there's now an abundance of wood in the camp, since no one mentioned it and chairs aren't essential materials, people got used to sitting on the ground, and no new ones were made. Of course, Xia Hong didn't object to Mu Dong making a chair. But this chair wasn't something easily crafted. Those cold beast wood carvings on the back alone would take a few days, not to mention the circular armrests and various carvings. Even though he instinctively wanted to reprimand, Xia Hong ultimately refrained. The simple reason was that Xia Chuan had already seated him on the chair. After sitting on the ground for nearly a year, actually sitting on a chair covered in cold beast skin brought a sense of comfort that truly reached Xia Hong's core. Later, while preparing materials for the new wooden house, we had surplus golden frost wood. Burning it seemed wasteful, so we specially made this chair for you during our spare time. How is it? Not bad, right? Oh, the evil delights of enjoying luxury. Although in his heart he felt that using such an extravagant wood chair now wasn't appropriate, Mu Dong's reasoning was quite sound. The excess golden frost wood was used, and it was crafted in spare time. Xia Hong nodded, holding back the reprimanding words he struggled with. Probably guessing Xia Hong's thoughts, Mu Dong chuckled and handed something to Xia Hong behind his back. Taking what Mu Dong handed over, Xia Hong unfolded it, and a hint of delight graced his expression once again. Chapter 100, Chapter 100 Clothing. The second item was, unexpectedly, a set of clothing. It wasn't just a beast skin skirt like before, but an entire set, including long trousers and underlayer, a coat, a fur hat and beast skin boots, 5 pieces from head to toe. This fur hat is made from the finest hair of the frost wolf's first layer, with 2 pieces of snow mane tusks as decoration. The underlayer and long trousers are woven from the softest and finest part of demon sheep white mane. The coat is made from snow mane skin, and the fur layer on the outside was carefully selected by us. As for these black beast skin boots, we soaked the second layer snow mane skin in snow water for more than 10 days, then baked them for several days to get this small piece of soft leather. Leader, feel the material and try them on to see if they're comfortable. As Mu Dong introduced each piece while unfolding them, Xia Hong was speechless for a long time after seeing the 5-piece set. He didn't try it on after receiving the clothes, just lowered his head in thought. A while ago, when Mu Dong asked for help with making iron needles, Xia Hong already guessed that it was for weaving something, but he didn't expect Mu Dong to put in so much effort to make such a set of clothes. And the chair he was sitting on clearly required effort to make as well. Xia Hong could reluctantly accept the chair. But this set of clothes truly felt a bit out of place to him. Recently, the hunting had been quite fruitful, and the camp's cold beast skins had naturally increased, but there were so many places that needed them. Leather bags for picking outside, beast skin rolls for camp records, leather bags for water and arrow quivers for hunting trips, leather blankets for sleeping, various leather items, etc. Of course, the biggest use for beast skins currently is to make clothes for everyone in the camp. Although beast skin skirts have become widespread, some children and women don't handle the cold as well as men, so any extra beast skins are basically given to them. Mu Dong spared no effort in making this set of clothes and the chair. To say Xia Hong didn't like them would be a lie. Originally, he thought he was used to sitting on the ground, but the moment he sat in the soft chair, Xia Hong realized how comfortable it was to have such a solid seat. Moreover, he had tolerated drafty pants for a long time. Recently, after seeing Yang and Li in their complete outfits, he was incredibly envious. Now, with such a complete set of clothing right before him, Xia Hong was naturally very happy, but the problem was that, for the current camp, these 2 items seemed a bit overly extravagant. As conditions improve, focusing on comfort is fine, but taking such a big step at once is not right. Now everyone else is still wearing beast skin skirts, yet he, as the leader, dons a complete outfit, which makes him stand out too much. Did you put a lot of thought into these 2 items? After thinking it over, Xia Hong didn't reprimand but first asked a question. Mu Dong obviously noticed the change in Xia Hong's emotion and showed some nervousness. He first turned to look at Xia Chuan before replying. Leader, it actually didn't use any rare materials. Mainly, it was the selection, tanning, and craftsmanship. It took me and 4 others in the craftsman workshop more than half a month. Upon saying this, Mu Dong paused and then hurriedly added, Leader, rest assured, the craftsman workshop's main task right now is still the materials for the new wooden houses, and these 2 items were made during our spare time, not affecting the new wooden house project. Hearing that these 2 items took more than half a month, Xia Hong frowned immediately. Although Mu Dong's explanation improved his mood somewhat, he still stood up from the chair and placed the clothes on it. Turning around, Xia Hong looked at Mu Dong. With a face that grew stern just as he was about to scold, Xia Chuan, who had been standing beside him, suddenly spoke up, taking the blame. "Leader, the chair and clothing were at my behest for Mu Dong to make." After Xia Chuan finished the sentence, he glanced around at everyone. By now, a considerable crowd had gathered around, and without exception, everyone's gaze towards the complete set of clothing and exquisite chair was filled with envy and longing. Clearly, the human need for material possessions is universal. Xia Chuan understood very well what Xia Hong was concerned about. To be precise, after having Mu Dong create these 2 items, Xia Hong's reaction at this moment was already within his expectations. Step by step, he approached Xia Hong and even helped him back onto the chair before turning to scan the whole crowd and then faced Xia Hong, speaking in a calm voice. "Leader, from the slopes over there, all of Great Xia Camp's people have only survived because of you. If not for you risking your life to gather crystal fruit and sharing cold beast meat with me, Yuan Cheng, and others, we wouldn't have survived, let alone broken through into the logging realm. When the wood puppet monster caused chaos in the valley, it was also because of you that it was finally slain successfully, rescuing over 100 people from Rojal Camp due to your effort. The camp merger has been over a month. Great Xia's more than 900 people can mostly get cold beast meat because you tirelessly took us hunting. If it weren't for you, getting any cold beast meat and beginning to train would be impossible, let alone even surviving. Coal mining, iron mining, hunting, our abilities are still too weak to help, and we all rely on you alone. This chair and clothing are made by us willingly for you. In the whole Great Xia camp, only you deserve them. I believe that, using these 2 items, none of the over 900 people in the camp will object." As Xia Chuan spoke forcefully, he also scanned the crowd with his gaze filled with conviction. Whether it be the original Great Xia people, Rojal's people, or even those from the De Chuan and Huang Zhao camps who merged later, hearing Xia Chuan's words made them all bow their heads in thought. They had just not realized. When Xia Hong saw the 2 items, he was clearly delighted. Why did he frown and showed a sign of blaming Mu Dong afterward? Only after hearing Xia Chuan's words did they understand. "Leader, your hard work deserves these 2 items. Only you fit to use them." "Indeed, leader, this chair and outfit were made for you. If you don't use them, who else in our camp fits? Without the leader, we'd only be sleeping by the fire, with no cold beast meat for training. The leader rightfully deserves to enjoy these." "Yes, leader, just try them on and show us. If it looks good, Mu Dong can make us some when the camp's supplies increase in the future." "Leader, Ying Xuan and Ying Yi both like being bare. The clothing seems troublesome, so they surely won't like it." "Li Yun, you're the one who loves being bare. Your whole family does." They, understanding Xia Hong's concerns, everyone around, whether the hunting team, logging team, reserves, or even ordinary people, all voiced for Xia Hong to try the clothes on. The crowd's tone was light-hearted, and by the end, Li Yun even joked with the Ying Xuan and Ying Yi brothers. Witnessing the playful mood of the crowd, Xia Hong felt a touch of emotion in his heart. He believed that he certainly deserved these 2 items, but the collective approval of so many people in the camp was undoubtedly far more precious than these 2 items themselves. With a thought in mind, Xia Hong no longer hesitated, stood up from the chair, turned away from the crowd, took off the beast skin skirt and put on the full set of clothing Mu Dong made, 1 piece at a time. Once Xia Hong had donned all the clothes and casually tied the loose hair with a string before turning around again, all the camp members couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Chapter 101, The Excitement of New Clothes. It's not that Xia Hong is particularly handsome. It's mainly that this outfit really adds a lot of points. The light blue hat made of the fine fur of a frost wolf head, with 2 5 or 6 inch long white snow mane tusks. The mane of the demon sheep is not pure white, but a white-tinged brown, and the straight trousers made from it are also white and brown. The highlight has to be that black cloak made from snow mane skin. Although Xia Hong is tall, his build is rather slim, but wearing this cloak makes him appear much more robust. Paired with those black snow mane skin boots, the whole person looks full of imposing aura. especially when compared to Xia Chuan and Mu Dong standing next to him. He looks like he's a size bigger, with the two white tusks on the edge of the hat, appearing both fierce and domineering. Leader, your aura is way stronger than those two from before. Yuan Cheng was obviously most impressed by this outfit, and after a closer look, he said admiringly with a look of envy in his eyes. Hearing Yuan Cheng mention Yang Li, Xia Chuan's eyes flashed with a cold gleam, and he said disdainfully, "Those two useless fools, they just rely on a slightly better background and they dare to compare with our leader." Last time when the wood puppet monster was exterminated and Xia Chuan woke up, he knew about how Yang Li wanted to either kill him or take him away from Great Xia. Even without mentioning that, the few kicks Li Hu gave him were not light. Obviously, Xia Chuan still remembers those two people till now. Xia Hong didn't have a good impression of those two either, but he didn't continue Xia Chuan's words, just waved his cloak, turned, and sat horizontally in the chair. Looking at the crowd of burly men in beast skin skirts in front of him, and then glancing at his own outfit and the chair he was sitting on, the words Mountain King popped into Xia Hong's mind, and his expression immediately became peculiar. The temperament Xia Chuan spoke of, he wasn't sure about that, but the way he sat, combined with the hundreds of people in beast skin skirts in front of him, definitely gave off a Mountain King vibe, plus the ice and snow outside. Forest, sea, and snowy plains. The words popped into Xia Hong's mind, and he looked down and chuckled softly to himself. Shaking off the strange thoughts in his mind, Xia Hong looked around and found that everyone was still looking at him with eyes full of envy. Pondering for a moment, he said loudly, "Don't worry, now as the camp continues to take down more cold beasts, the beast skins will eventually overflow. Do you remember when the camps first merged, many people could only wear straw clothes, unable even to wear a beast skin skirt?" Upon hearing this, everyone nodded. The situation was indeed as Xia Hong said. The complete spread of beast skin skirts throughout the camp to the point where everyone had one occurred just half a month ago. When the cold beast skin overflows, Mu Dong making a few more sets of clothes will just be a casual task. Eventually, you'll all be able to wear them. When Xia Hong finished this sentence, the crowd's faces immediately showed a bit more spirit. But at this moment, Xia Hong changed his tone. However, the clothing-making process is cumbersome. Not counting these decorations, a complete set takes several days, and obtaining cold beast skin is not easy. So, we need to set a standard for who gets to wear it first. The crowd suddenly had their interest piqued by Xia Hong, all looking up and staring at him, waiting for his next words. Although they believed Xia Hong's words that eventually everyone would be able to wear them. Who knows when that sooner or later will come. Although cold beasts are large, each one provides plenty of hides and fur. But the camp's demand is also large. Xia Hong's outfit used cold beast skin, demon sheep fur, and frost wolf fur, with many additional materials, obviously taking a lot of effort. Everyone wants to wear something like this, but it's clearly not possible now, and they admit they're not qualified. But judging by the amount of beast skin used, making a full outfit requires the skin and fur of at least 2 adult cold beasts. Besides, clothing is not a particularly scarce resource. Those living in the camp stay near the iron refining furnace for long periods, so temperature isn't an issue. The more significant use of the beast skin skirts is to avoid being naked. The vast amount of beast skin needed for clothing and the non-scarce nature of the resource clearly indicates that, when Xia Hong said everyone could wear them, it means it will take a long time for that to happen. Being able to wear it one day sooner is certainly the best. So everyone eagerly anticipated Xia Hong's next words. Mu Dong, the ground stakes will take approximately another 4 months to finish. During this time, take some spare time to make 15 sets of clothes with your people. Yes, leader. Xia Hong first gave Mu Dong an order, then turned to face everyone and spoke with a smile. You all heard, the first batch will have 15 sets. The first 10 to break through to the earth-digging realm and the first 5 to break through to the logging realm, each gets a set. Whether you can wear it depends on yourselves. Almost the moment Xia Hong finished speaking, those originally circling around him, whether from the hunting team, logging team, or the reserved forces, immediately dispersed and went to cultivate individually. In moments, the sound of continuous punching echoed from inside and outside the wooden huts. Those who hadn't consumed cold beast meat quickly prepared themselves a meal, just as obviously intending to train right after eating. This sudden change made the smile on Xia Hong's face grow wider, and his heart was filled with new ideas. Due to the inertia from his past life, Xia Hong believed that unity and cohesion were the most crucial aspects of the camp. He would intentionally or unintentionally downplay the notion of hierarchy and class in the camp. Although he knew in his heart that a sense of hierarchy would naturally develop due to the differences in cultivation and the varying roles individuals played, and that this sense would deepen as the gap in cultivation widened. Xia Hong believed that the existence and deepening of this notion would eventually lead to a lack of unity and integrity in the camp, affecting overall cohesion. So, he chose to downplay it as much as possible. Just as when Mu Dong brought out the wooden chair and clothes made for him, his first reaction wasn't to accept them but to resist, which was his way of downplaying and resisting this notion. However, at this moment, the scene before him made him realize that the existence of this hierarchy was not entirely a bad thing. At the very least, it made these people more motivated to cultivate. The gap between the earth-digging realm and the logging realm and the ordinary people, with different levels of cultivation playing different roles, differentiation was always present. Since this notion was unavoidable, it could only be accepted. Xia Hong reminded himself once more internally that this was not his previous life. The harshness of the ice abyss world far surpassed even the collapse of order described by the phrase rebellion against decorum. Holding onto the mindset of a civilized society would eventually lead to a great loss. One outfit could spark such a big motivational response. The wooden hut being built soon, the golden sword powder, the weapons, and the martial arts in my mind all seem like things that could be leveraged. Seeing the enthusiasm for cultivation rise even higher compared to before, and realizing there were many more things to use to his advantage, Xia Hong's eyes shone with a newfound spirit. From the night when the distribution standard of the 15 sets of clothes was set, almost everyone in the camp was training tirelessly. The whole camp plunged into a frenzy of cultivation. Especially when Xia Hong returned from hunting every night, wearing those clothes as he walked back to the wooden hut in front of everyone, he clearly felt the vigor in everyone's punching increase in strength and intensity. The members of the hunting and logging teams were even more motivated. The cultivation in the logging realm and the earth-digging realm involves consuming energy and absorbing the essence contained in cold beast meat, and hunting and logging are themselves extremely effective ways of expending energy. Therefore, when outside, they worked noticeably harder than before, and naturally their harvest increased significantly in tandem, visibly stocking up more material in the camp's mine warehouse and speeding up the stake-driving process considerably. 2 months later, the first person, besides Xia Hong, to gain the qualification to wear a complete outfit finally appeared. Surprisingly, this person didn't come from the hunting team or the logging team but from the reserves. Moreover, he was someone Xia Hong was relatively familiar with. Xiqing's son Xiping. Chapter 102, Chapter 102, The Arrival of the Spurt Period. Xiping was the first to break through to the logging realm, and the happiest of all was Xiqing. Although a long time had passed, Xiqing's body had improved significantly, but a root cause of lifelong disability remained. Now, he could at most walk around the valley. Recovering his strength was out of the question, let alone cultivating. Having been a leader for so many years, Xiqing naturally couldn't resign himself to idleness, especially when most people in the camp were madly training, and he could only watch from the sidelines. Fortunately, his archery skills were still intact. Although he couldn't demonstrate them to others due to his lack of cultivation, he could still offer some guidance. Moreover, the camp now had 11 bows and arrows, and many needed archery guidance, so he had found something to do. Teaching archery, Xiqing found where his value lay. Besides, his primary concern was urging his son Xiping to train. Having been a leader, Xiqing clearly understood the camp's hierarchical structure. Although the great Xia's current strength far exceeded that of the former Deshi, the core remained unchanged. Cultivation determines value, value determines status. This was the case in every camp. This was why, even though he was crippled, Xiqing kept looking for things to do. Urging his son to train was partly for his son himself, and partly for the 100+ people from the former Deshi camp. Currently, Great Xia consisted of over 900 people, strictly speaking, merged from 5 groups. Under the indiscriminate cold beast meat system, the camp had considerable cohesion, but the 5 groups still experienced some differentiation internally. It was apparent from where each group resided in the wooden house. The closest to the stove were the initial members of the Great Xia. Next were the over 100 from Rojal camp. And then those from De Shi, De Chuan, and Huangzhou camps were on the outermost layer, with De Shi people seated the furthest back. These signs didn't indicate a split in the camp. Humans are sentimental and naturally gravitate towards familiar people. This is a natural order, unchangeable by rising camp cohesion. Just like they would stick with familiar people, as the leader, Xia Hong naturally gravitated towards the initial members of the Great Xia. Although he treated everyone equally in distributing cold beast meat, he inevitably showed favoritism in everyday details. Currently, the highest status among the camps, 5 groups belonged to the initial members of the Great Xia, justified by factors such as strength and Xia Hong. Secondly, there were the over 100 people from Rojal camp, featuring 15 logging realm members like Luo Yuan and controlling 8 out of 15 spots in the hunting team. Cheng Feng, the logging team captain, and Mu Dong, the craftsman workshop master, were also from their ranks. Then there were the camps of De Chuan and Huangzhou, with a total of 10 logging realm members, and Han Gang, Huang Yang, and Zhu Shun joined the hunting team, while the remaining 7 were in the logging team. Only the 100-plus people from De Shi had no logging realm members, let alone anyone in the hunting or logging teams. Shi Qing wasn't worried that Xia Hong would marginalize the De Shi people. The critical issue was that this group brought no value to the camp, leading to inevitable marginalization if it continued. The development of Great Xia had visibly gained traction, advancing rapidly. Such marginalization could later evolve into being ignored and losing influence, missing out on benefits. Therefore, Shi Qing watched anxiously. Now a cripple, Shi Qing had no say in camp development, so he pinned hopes on Shi Ping, not just Shi Ping, but any young recruit from De Shi he could supervise. Fortunately, Shi Ping surprised him by breaking through to the logging realm first among the more than 300 recruits. This breakthrough not only gave Shi Qing face. According to Xia Hong's earlier standard, the first 5 recruits to break through to the logging realm would receive a set of clothes. Thus, it was both fame and fortune. Watching Shi Ping receive that outfit from Xia Hong and wear it. Though the attire wasn't as refined as Xia Hong's, it was a complete set: jacket, fur hat, coat, trousers, and boots, and it looked striking on him. Onlookers in the wooden house all cast envious glances at Shi Ping, including hunting and logging team members. Shi Qing's 17-year-old son already showed hints of adult demeanor. Feeling emotionally stirred, Shi Qing remembered his tragically deceased wife and 2 brothers, bringing tears to his eyes. "Uncle Shi, you have someone to carry on your legacy. Congratulations." Awakened by Xia Hong's congratulatory voice, Shi Qing snapped back to reality, bowing respectfully. "Nothing would be possible without our leader bravely hunting. Pinger wouldn't have this fortune." Xia Hong smiled faintly and said softly, "Uncle Shi, don't worry. Currently, all 900-plus people are cramped together and space in the wooden house is limited, so some will inevitably be inside and some outside. In a few months, when the new dwelling is done, accommodation arrangements will be unified. As I said before, I treat everyone equally. Do you still distrust me?" Hearing these words, Shi Qing paused. Shi Qing instinctively wanted to explain, but Xia Hong shook his head, signaling that Shi Qing need not explain. Xia Hong understood Shi Qing's concerns. To be precise, the camp was so small that people essentially stayed in the wooden house. If anything happened and he paid attention, he could find out. Regarding the camp's current factional division, Xia Hong instinctively recalled the saying, "Shallow waters can't accommodate many turtles. Small temple attracts shady winds," initially finding it laughable, worrying about its impact on camp unity. But upon reflection, he realized that wasn't necessarily the case. In any organization reaching a certain size, factions emerge unavoidably. After all, any human group will develop factions based on closeness or differences in ideas or interests. Factions mean competition, which, when malignant, can disrupt unity or even lead to severe splits. But beneficial competition is essential for Ice Abyss, a world that highly values martial power and respects might. The key issue lies in whether these differences are allowed to grow or are promptly addressed. As long as the core, Xia Hong, can properly handle these differences, this interfaction competition is positive. This healthy competition not only won't damage the camp's unity, but will urge camp members to cultivate, boosting development speed. He didn't give Shi Qing a chance to explain because of this principle. Within controllable limits, Xia Hong could accept factional competition. Xi Ping being the first to break through to the logging realm and donning new clothes clearly stirred others. After congratulating Xi Ping, everyone resumed their frenzied training, eagerly eyeing the remaining 14 outfits. Xia Hong sat on his exclusive seat, scanning the wooden house. Observing the qi muscle changes in everyone's breaths, he smiled. Others might have seen only Xi Ping's breakthrough, but Xia Hong saw more. The recruits had been fed cold beast meat simultaneously. Even with age and talent differences, their breakthrough gaps wouldn't be large. One breakthrough signaled others were close too. The boom period was near. Indeed, as Xia Hong anticipated. The next day, 2 more broke through to the logging realm. On the 3rd day, another, the 4th and 5th days. Within the following month, the logging realm members in Great Xia sprouted like mushrooms after rain, and even the hunting team saw breakthroughs. Chapter 103, Chapter 103, the second earth-digging realm. Ding! In the valley mine, an iron ore the size of a palm was chiseled from the rock wall, fell to the ground, and made a crisp sound. Sweating profusely, Xia Hong first put down the sheep horn chisel in his hand, then picked up the iron ore on the ground, his face full of exhaustion. 50 pounds, 5 units, coal is running out, iron 2, hunting must be paused, time must be allocated specifically for mining. Resources: wood 23,210, coal 35, iron 59, silver 0, gold 0. Xia Hong sighed. This past month, he allocated a third of his time specifically for mining coal and iron, yet it's still not keeping up with the consumption rate. Currently, all the camp's iron and coal are almost exclusively used for preparing materials for a soon-to-be-built wooden house and making essential tools. Even so, it's still not sufficient. No, it's not insufficient. Without the large quantities of coal and iron left by Luo Ming earlier, the plan to build the new wooden house couldn't even be initiated. According to the plan, though the main structure of the new wooden house uses golden frost wood, for stability and to extend its lifespan as much as possible, a considerable amount of iron is still needed for the key parts, connections, and internal structure. To accommodate more people, Xia Hong set the specifications of the new wooden house to be very large, 200 meters long and 15 meters high, divided into 3 layers. As a result, the building difficulty and materials used are naturally astonishingly high. 4 months have passed since planning began, with a total of 800 meters of ground stakes, yet less than 100 meters have been driven. This is even after I've reduced my hunting trips to allocate more time for driving stakes. As for wood preparation, it's almost sufficient. According to Mu Dong, the required iron can be prepared in just over 2 months. That means the hardest part is still the ground stakes. Xia Hong furrowed his brow. The iron needed for the new wooden house is a one-time requirement, and since the main structure is wood, the demand for iron ore isn't high. So he tries hard to allocate time for mining iron ore. Coupled with the significant amount of iron ore left by Luo Ming before, it's barely enough. The ground stake problem remains unsolved. In the entire camp, only he is in the earth-digging realm, and the ground stakes can only be dug by him. If others in the logging realm want to dig, they must use coal stone to soften the ground, which again ties into the problem of insufficient coal. It seems that in 2 months, even if the materials are ready, we'll have to wait for all the ground stakes to be driven before we can start construction. Xia Hong took a deep breath and didn't think any further. He picked up the sheep horn chisel beside him, preparing to continue mining iron ore. But just as he was about to dig, Xia Chuan entered the mine excitedly, shouting at him from afar. "Brother, someone has broken through again." Clang! Xia Hong continued chiseling without even turning his head, casually asking, "How many this time?" Lately, there have been breakthroughs in the logging realm every night, sometimes 5 or 6 people at once. The total number of people in the logging realm at the camp has already exceeded 100, so he's a bit numb to it, no longer as excited as he was initially. 7 people and Luo Yuan. 7 people, adding up to the previous 103, makes a total of 101 in the logging realm at the camp now. Wait! Luo Yuan broke through too. Xia Hong instinctively calculated the total number of people in the logging realm. Realizing Xia Chuan mentioned Luo Yuan also broke through, he suddenly tossed aside the sheep horn chisel he was holding, then turned to look at Xia Chuan to confirm once more. Seeing Xia Chuan nod, Xia Hong immediately showed a joyful expression and rushed out of the mine without a second thought, with Xia Chuan hurriedly following behind. Although the iron refining furnace can heat up a radius of 100 meters, the fire's range is still limited. Considering the increasing number of people practicing martial arts outdoors at night, and coupled with the valley's sufficiently hidden terrain, Xia Hong had ordered people to light a bonfire for illumination outside every night. Of course, this bonfire is extinguished during the day. When Xia Hong stepped out of the mine, he saw everyone gathered around the bonfire and quickly fast-walked over. "The leader is here, make way." Xia Chuan rushed in front of him, shouted a few times, clearing a path. Xia Hong followed the open path into the crowd, seeing Luo Yuan vigorously swinging a sheep horn chisel at the ground stakes under the bonfire's light. With every chiseling, soil from beneath was continuously dug out. The new wooden house's ground stakes have been driven over 100 meters. The softened ground at the rear of the wooden house is where the iron refining furnace burns coal, softening the ground. The part Luo Yuan was digging into hadn't been softened by coal stone, and was originally the only section only Xia Hong could work on. And now Luo Yuan was able to dig too, which was self-explanatory. Seeing firsthand that Luo Yuan had indeed broken through to the earth-digging realm, Xia Hong felt an immense surge of excitement in his heart. "Mu Dong, bring the clothes." With a joyful expression, Xia Hong turned and instructed Mu Dong. Seeing Luo Yuan still working, he quickly ordered him to stop and then called him up. "Leader, from today, you don't have to work so hard anymore. I can now help you dig ground stakes too, haha." The newly broken through Luo Yuan was clearly in an excellent mood, wiping sweat first, then waving the chisel at Xia Hong with a tone full of joy. Xia Hong was initially stunned by his words, then realized why Luo Yuan immediately started digging after his breakthrough. He looked around at the camp members, whose eyes, though filled with admiration, contained a trace of guilt as well. After thinking it through, Xia Hong slightly softened his expression, feeling relieved about what had happened. For this period, it was Xia Hong who led hunting expeditions, mined coal, mined minerals, and dug ground stakes. Clearly, his efforts of multitasking for a long time to serve the camp people weren't in vain. Don't get happy too soon. Breaking through means more ability, and with more ability comes more responsibility. Now it's just mining and driving stakes. When you get stronger, I might even hand over the hunting to you." Upon hearing this, Luo Yuan nodded vigorously, his face filled with eager anticipation. After Xia Hong finished speaking, he turned to look at the others, saying with a smile, "You all feel sorry for me, right? If you feel sorry, quickly roll and start training. No matter if it's the logging realm or the earth-digging realm, help me with tasks once you've made a breakthrough. That's how you show you care. Just watching me isn't worth a damn. Roll, roll, roll." "Leader, I'll go train right away. Don't kick me, don't kick me." "Helata." With a mixture of laughter and reprimand, Xia Hong kicked Yuan Cheng, who was the closest to him, and Yuan Cheng grimaced and yelped, causing everyone to burst into laughter. However, despite the laughter, everyone quickly dispersed and resumed intense training, clearly having taken Xia Hong's words to heart. Their reactions brought a few warm smiles to Xia Hong's face. When Mu Dong brought the clothes, Xia Hong personally handed them to Luo Yuan. Looking at this second earth-digging realm after him at the Daxia camp, Xia Hong finally felt some relief from his long-standing tension. Luo Yuan's breakthrough not only reduces the individual mining pressure and significantly accelerates the staking speed for the new camp house, but also improves hunting efficiency. More importantly, Xia Chuan and the three Zhao brothers aren't far behind Luo Yuan. His breakthrough means that the four of them are close too. This indicates that the number of earth-digging realm members in Daxia camp will soon match Rojal camp's past count. If we compare overall strength, the current Daxia has already far surpassed Rojal camp at its peak, since Daxia now has as many as 110 people in the logging realm. "Luo Yuan, from today, when you're not out hunting, you will mine with me. Once Zhao Long, Xia Chuan, and the others break through, the construction on the new wooden house should quickly commence." "Yes, leader." Probably sensing the excitement in Xia Hong's tone, Luo Yuan nodded vigorously, his face full of excitement and anticipation. Chapter 104. Chapter 104. The Camp's Strength, Rapid Enhancement 2 in 1 Mega Chapter. As Xia Hong had predicted, 10 days after Luo Yuan's breakthrough, Zhao Long also broke through, followed closely by Xia Chuan, Zhao Hu, and Zhao Bao, who all reached the earth-digging realm within the next 20 days. More crucially, during this process, the number of people in the reserves breaking through to the logging realm continued to rise steadily. By the time the youngest of the Zhao brothers, Zhao Bao, broke through to the earth-digging realm, the number of people in the camp at the logging realm had increased from 110 to 140, and according to Xia Hong's observation of the reserves, this trend was ongoing. The reserves had a total of 302 people, and only 109 had broken through so far. Though the breakthrough would vary due to talent, it would not be staggered for too long. It can be foreseen, in the near future, the remaining 193 people will all break through, indicating that the current wave of growth in the number of people at the logging realm in the camp is far from over. The rapid increase in the number of people at the logging realm has brought obvious benefits. Firstly, the speed of wood accumulation has almost doubled, and it can be said that with Great Xia's current population scale, wood is no longer an issue, with only surplus remaining and no more shortages. Secondly, Mu Dong's craftsman workshop and Xia Chuan's camp supply station were no longer just led by the three of them. Both institutions chose some people according to their needs from those at the logging realm. Finally, more and more people were working in the valley, organizing wood, cleaning up the valley environment, going out to chop wood, exploring the surrounding environment with the logging team, assisting craftsmen with tool making, helping the hunting team handle cold beasts, assisting the camp supply station in organizing the warehouse. These tasks sound simple, but in reality, people without the cultivation of the logging realm simply couldn't do it. Take the simple task of organizing wood, those trees weighing thousands or tens of thousands of pounds. Without the basic strength standard, you couldn't move them at all, and even with a knife, you couldn't chop through them. If you can't even break the wood, let alone make tools with iron. Even Mu Dong, who before reaching the logging realm had to ask people from the logging team for help while making new cabin fittings. Initially, Xia Hong suspected that the logging realm was the baseline standard for humans in the ice abyss world, and anyone below it, without relying on a strong one, simply didn't even have the qualification to survive. Not to mention going out to chop wood or doing many other things. Despite the real problems in front of them, there was still a heap of them. But the increasingly busy scene in the valley camp made Xia Hong feel immensely fulfilled, feeling that his hard work during this period had not been in vain. After months of intense and frenzied hunting, he paid not only with effort and fatigue, but both he and the other 15 members of the hunting team bore many real scars. Others even had a few close-to-death situations. Had Xia Hong not strictly controlled the hunting range to within 500 meters from the edge, plus having the miraculous medicine golden sore powder, a death in the hunting team would have been highly likely. Probably because Xia Hong, as the leader, set a good example. Anyone in the camp who reached the logging realm had little time to be idle come evening. They either went out with Cheng Feng to log wood, or helped with tasks in the craftsman workshop. Tasks like digging ground piles didn't need Xia Hong to arrange. As long as coal was burned at the iron refining furnace, someone would take up the idle tools and start digging. At the very least, they helped organize the wood and tidy the valley. People naturally like to compare, and the atmosphere created by the over 100 people who first broke through stirred an even higher enthusiasm for cultivation among the rest of the reserve personnel who hadn't broken through yet. Not to mention proving one's value, even just being able to go out after breaking through was enough to make them envious. The reserve was like this, let alone the remaining 10 members of the hunting team. With the breakthroughs of Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, and the other 5, only 5 of the promised 10 sets of earth-digging realm apparel were left, driving them to train even harder. Whether on hunting outings or staying at the camp, they pushed themselves, fearing someone would beat them to the breaking point and take the clothes first. Xia Hong did not make any further changes to the camp, nor did he specifically organize the matters of the logging team, hunting team, camp supply station, and craftsman workshop, instead allowing the camp to maintain this atmosphere. Of course, it wasn't as if he did nothing. To ensure the commencement of construction of the new cabin soon, he reduced the frequency of hunting and set aside time with Xia Chuan and the other 4 specifically for mining and digging ground piles. A month passed after Zhao Bao's breakthrough. Xia Hong, covered in dust, returned to the camp with the hunting team and hadn't even entered the cabin before Mu Dong approached him. Upon hearing a few words from Mu Dong, a smile immediately appeared on Xia Hong's face. After a moment of thought, he turned to Xia Chuan behind him and said, "Chuan, gather everyone in the camp who is above the logging realm and have them all assemble in the cabin." "Yes, leader." After directing Xia Chuan to notify the others, Xia Hong quickly walked into the cabin and sat directly on the wooden chair beside the iron refining furnace. Camp Great Xia Level 0. Lord Xia Hong. Territory population 902. Resources: wood 52,905, coal 230, iron 150, silver 0, gold 0. Open buildings 4. Iron refining furnace level 2, wooden mannequin level 1, medicine decoction pot level 1, polishing stone level 1. Unopened buildings 5. Green bamboo fence marking stone, yellow earth, small wooden table, rough iron chain. Chapter 105. Chapter 104 Camp Strength, Rapid Enhancement 2 in 1 large chapter, /2. Opening the camp system interface and seeing the data on wood, coal, and iron, Xia Hong slightly sighed in relief. Although there's not much coal and iron left, they've managed to stabilize. Not only has it supported the consumption of materials for new wooden houses, but as more people participate in mining, there's also a slight surplus. For the current camp, this is already quite good. With 6 earth-digging realm individuals, the daily coal production can be 1,200 pounds, and the daily iron production is 600 pounds, which is converted in the system to 60 units. Logically, with 60 units of coal or iron per day, after a month, Xia Hong's coal and iron resources shouldn't be just this much. But the reality is far more complicated than anticipated. Xia Hong can't just lead people to mine. Hunting activities are still necessary, as the camp still demands cold beast meat. Although there's a desire to delegate the hunting tasks, Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, and the other 3 have just recently broken through, and their strength and experience are not sufficient, so Xia Hong is definitely going to observe longer. The instability during hunting is too high, and with the camp in resource scarcity, relying on these 5 earth-digging realm individuals, losing any one of them would be unacceptable for Xia Hong. The reserve of cold beast meat is already substantial, so this month, Xia Hong only allocated 10 nights for hunting, and the remaining 20 nights were split equally for coal and iron mining. Currently, most of the camp's coal and iron are used solely for the construction of new wooden houses. The iron ore is used to make tools or parts for the new wooden houses. Most of the coal stone is put into the iron refining furnace to soften the ground, allowing more logging realm individuals to participate in digging ditches and enhancing the speed of driving stakes into the ground. The stakes are about to be finished, and once the new houses are built, the accumulation speed of coal and iron resources should increase. Then, should we first upgrade the buildings or exchange for a few other buildings? No, with more people breaking through to the earth-digging realm, we should first make weapons and quickly make a batch of animal traps to continue reducing the difficulty of hunting, and some iron tools are also urgently needed. Xia Hong helplessly finds that there are too many places in the camp that need iron and coal, and with the 4 buildings currently opened in the system, no matter which one, the coal and iron needed for upgrading are simply unthinkable in the short term. Among the 4 buildings, the iron refining furnace consumes the least resources for an upgrade. It takes 2,000 wood and 5,000 iron to upgrade from level 2 to level 3. Wood, of course, is not a problem, but 5,000 units of iron mean even if he has Xia Chuan and 5 earth-digging realm individuals doing nothing else but mining iron ore, it would take at least about 3 months. Having 6 earth-digging realm individuals doing nothing but mining iron ore is unrealistic. Moreover, the camp still has needs elsewhere, not to mention the other 3 buildings require even more astonishing resources. For the short term, thinking about upgrading buildings is definitely out of question. They should stick to the previous idea of steadily enhancing the camp's overall strength, so that as more people break through to the earth-digging realm, resources will naturally increase. Xia Hong calmed himself and noticed that in front of the iron refining furnace, over 100 people had already gathered, and more were coming. The closest ones were Luo Yuan, the 3 Zhao brothers, and the 4 earth-digging realm individuals. Further back were Yuan Cheng, Mu Dong, Cheng Feng, and members of the hunting team, then 20 people from the logging team, and the outermost group, those who recently broke through, numbering more than 100. Leader, all personnel above logging realm, totaling 140 people, are present. Xia Chuan walked over from the back, reported, and then stood next to the 4 of Luo Yuan. In the world of Ice Abyss, the concept of strength supremacy has long been ingrained, and the Great Xia is no exception, as can be seen from everyone's positioning. During this period, with the ample supply of cold beast meat, everyone's physical strength in the camp soared, and these 140 logging realm individuals stood out among them. Each of them is burly, with strong physiques, mostly wearing beast skin skirts, with most muscles exposed, and having long breath intervals due to powerful chi muscle. Over 100 people stood in front with a strong sense of pressure. Of course, as leader of the great Xia, Xia Hong didn't feel this pressure, only a strong sense of achievement and rising pride. After all, these over 140 people were the foundation of the great Xia, or in other words, the rich reward of Xia Hong's wholehearted dedication during this period. How long has it been since the great Xia moved over to this valley? Complete silence prevailed, making Xia Hong's question exceptionally clear. It's been 6 months, leader. Luo Yuan responded. Having previously been with Rojal camp, he clearly remembered the time of great Xia's relocation. Xia Hong nodded, speaking loudly. Yes, 6 months, and the cold beast meat system I promised at the beginning has also been implemented for 6 months. As of today, our Daxia camp, counting 6 individuals in the earth-digging realm and 140 in the logging realm, you have not let the hard work of the hunting team go to waste, nor have you let me down. Very good. The words fell, and the venue remained silent, yet everyone's faces uniformly showed pride and also grew a strong respect for Xia Hong. The camp is only so big, and everyone roughly knows how many people have broken through. The point is that receiving Xia Hong's personal affirmation fills them with a stronger sense of honor. Chapter 106, Chapter 104 Camp Strength, Rapid Enhancement 2 in one large chapter, /3. Secondly, they are all well aware that if it weren't for Xia Hong's implementation of the cold beast meat system, giving them the opportunity to cultivate, they would likely still be lying in their wooden huts, muddling through life. Even Luo Yuan, the Zhao brothers, and all the former Rojal camp people look at Xia Hong with full admiration in their eyes, even gradually showing a hint of fanaticism. Even if they are like this, it's needless to say the people of Daishi, Dachuan, and Yellow Zhao, and even more so for the people of Great Xia camp, who look at Xia Hong as if he were a god, filled with fervor and devotion. 6 earth-digging realm experts, 140 logging realm individuals. This strength far surpasses not only the entirety of Rojal camp before, but even all the camps at Redwood Ridge combined, still can't compare to the current Great Xia. Reverence for the strong is a commonality in humanity, especially in a world like the ice abyss, akin to an icy purgatory. A leader not only strong in strength, but also capable of leading the camp to grow and prosper, making everyone live better, holds a place in their hearts undoubtedly far beyond a deity 1,000-fold, or even 10,000-fold. After all, the ice abyss world has long been rumored to be the product of divine punishment. God would not save them, but Xia Hong would, not only saving them but also allowing them to live better and become stronger. The camp's hunting ability is getting stronger, so the supply of cold beast meat will remain according to the previous system, with no changes. Correspondingly, your cultivation cannot slack just because you've achieved a bit. To be frank, logging realm strength is not much help except for chopping wood and lending a small hand within the camp. It's not good for hunting or mining. Even for digging trenches, you can only dig on the softened ground of coal stone. So cultivate, cultivate, and cultivate. Only by breaking through to the earth-digging realm can you truly have a foothold and actually assist me, making more important contributions to the camp. Understood? Understood, leader. Over 100 people, including earth-digging realm experts like Xia Chuan and Luo Yuan, answered in unison, a powerful clang that shook the entire wooden hut slightly. From the unwavering determination on everyone's faces, Xia Hong also felt their resolve and drive, and his expression was slightly moved. Good, then I will look forward to it. After saying this, Xia Hong then revealed the real purpose for gathering everyone here. There are 2 things for calling you here this time. The first is the future personnel arrangement for the camp's logging realm. Upon hearing Xia Hong mention the first matter, everyone immediately became alert. Recently, over 100 people have broken through to the logging realm. Besides the few hired by the camp's supply station and craftsman workshop, the rest have been following Cheng Feng for logging and gathering, but are not officially part of the logging or hunting teams. This is not a trivial matter. The official identity of a logging team member means a daily 5-pound quota of cold beast meat, and even more for the hunting team, with 10 pounds daily. In the camp supply station and craftsman workshop, Although currently only Xia Chuan, Yuan Cheng, and Mu Dong gain an extra 30 pounds of cold beast meat monthly, based on the recruitment standards set by Xia Hong. Anyone who joins these two institutions will definitely receive more cold beast meat in the future. The over 100 newly promoted logging realm individuals have not had specific arrangements made by Xia Hong recently, all following the rules set by Xia Chuan, currently receiving the highest reserve standards of 2 pounds of cold beast meat daily. In the reserve phase, 2 pounds a day is certainly enough, but after breaking through to the logging realm, 2 pounds fall far short of meeting their cultivation needs. Since cold beast meat is hunted down by the hunting team at the risk of their lives, and given how everyone has seen Xia Hong busy beyond measure lately, they feel it's inappropriate to bother him with this matter. Now hearing that Xia Hong is finally going to make arrangements, everyone is naturally extremely excited and listening attentively. The current hunting team of 15 can meet the camp's needs, and adding more logging realm members to it is of no use, so there will be no expansion of the hunting team, and only earth-digging realm individuals can apply to join in the future. Upon hearing Xia Hong's words, while others had no reaction, the original hunting team members, apart from the 5 who broke through to earth-digging realm like Luo Yuan, breathed a sigh of relief. Now with 6 earth-digging realm experts, they worried too much that Xia Hong would scale back the hunting team and expel the logging realm members, but fortunately, their worries proved unnecessary. The logging team currently has 21 people, and this round of expansion will increase it to 80 people. We'll also establish a collection team, tentatively recruiting 40 people, with benefits the same as the logging team. Leader, the collection team, is it specifically for gathering crystal fruit? Upon hearing someone below inquire, Xia Hong immediately shook his head, saying, gathering crystal fruit is just one task. Recording the growth cycle of ice trees, searching for usable wild herb resources, finding and documenting more fruiting plants, etc., are also part of the team's duties. As our hunting team's activity range expands, the collection team must follow suit, seeking more useful resources for the camp. These are the collection team's responsibilities. Having said that, Xia Hong paused and continued. The work of the collection team is very important. Our recipe for the golden soar powder was derived from the blue frost grass brought back by Cheng Feng. Everyone understood what the collection team entailed and nodded with some thought. Additionally, the treatment of the camp supply station and craftsman workshop will also be the same as the logging and collection teams, with 5 pounds of cold beast meat daily. Recruitment for these 2 departments will be fully managed by Xia Chuan and Mu Dong. They only need to report to me, and whether you can join depends entirely on your own abilities. The camp supply station manages all camp materials, and as resources increase, it will definitely need more people. But for now, with not much inventory, few personnel are needed. The craftsman workshop requires not just ordinary logging realm members, but those with some craftsmanship skills or at least talent in craftsmanship. Currently, not many are needed either. Moreover, Xia Chuan and Mu Dong have already recruited a few people respectively in recent times. The camp supply station recruited 2, and the craftsman workshop recruited 5, all of whom have been reported to Xia Hong, so he is aware. Whether it's the logging team or the collection team, with 120 positions available, you have plenty of choices. Of course, you can also choose not to join either, but if so, there will be no share of cold beast meat for you in the future. Upon hearing this, everyone shook their heads, assuming Xia Hong was joking, as breaking through to the logging realm and not joining the collection or logging teams would mean becoming a parasite doing nothing. Such persons wouldn't get any share of cold beast meat in the future. The whole camp would ensure any previously consumed has to be coughed up. With Xia Hong as a leading example, it's foreseeable that not only currently but even in the future, the Great Xia camp will not tolerate such parasites. In summary, 8 words, Great Xia camp does not support idlers. Without strength before you can venture out, the camp supporting you is to be expected. With strength, you should give back to the camp. The strength of Great Xia solely depends on me, and that too has its limits. Only when everyone exerts their value can the camp's strength increasingly grow, and our lives certainly become better. As Xia Hong said these 2 sentences, his tone was quite solemn. Everyone nodded emphatically, engraving this sentiment in their hearts. All right, the first matter is settled. Now let's discuss the second one. Allowing everyone a bit of time to digest, Xia Hong started on the second matter, first giving Mu Dong a look instead of speaking directly. Mu Dong nodded, stepped forward excitedly. Everyone, the preparations for the new wooden houses are complete, and all necessary tools and parts are ready. Over 600 meters of ground stakes have been laid, and we can now proceed with synchronous construction. Upon hearing that the new wooden houses were finally ready to break ground, the faces of the over 100 logging realm individuals, along with the surrounding crowd, were all instantly filled with delight. Even though Xia Hong had already learned this news earlier, as he surveyed the wooden house he's lived in for half a year, a smile was still hard to suppress. The current wooden house is indeed too cramped. Just like everyone else, he's long been looking forward to breaking ground and moving into new houses.